need an introduction. His name itself is crowd puller, a true visionary and a prominent figure, Dr. S. Kevin, our resource person for today's session, with his exceptional accomplishments and unwavering dedication, has earned an outstanding reputation in the field of commerce and management. With an impressive career spanning of more than 40 decades, Sir's expertise and insights have inspired countless individuals to pursue excellence. Sir, we are truly honored to have you with us today. We eagerly look forward to your words of wisdom and inspiration. I cordially welcome Dr. S. Kevin to this session of our workshop.
Thank you. Thank you.
The overwhelming response of the participants made this workshop a great success. It was with much apprehension that we initiated this workshop. It's after a long gap the department is organizing a national level offline program. But response from your part is encouraging. As the coordinator of this workshop, I take this opportunity to thank each one of you. I welcome all the participants to this online session. Welcome. I also welcome our beloved principal, Dr. Stephen Matthew, who will join us in a short time. I also welcome our head of the department, Dr. Jisha Josh, my colleagues, and well-wishers to this gathering. Once again, welcoming all of you and wishing you all again much from this session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I am profusely overjoyed to take the opportunity to introduce our resource person who has graciously accepted our invitation to join us today. We are fortunate to have with us Dr. S. Kevin, who is currently the Emeritus Professor, University of Kerala, for taking today's session. I call upon Dr. S. Kevin for the talk.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So, thank you, Ambali teacher, for the good words and the welcome that you have given me. Okay, I am also very happy. I used to come to this college. I have come there before to take classes before the COVID, So, I know the college, I know the people there. So I am happy once again to associate with you to help the students to prepare their questionnaire. So with this introductory remarks, let me move on to without wasting much time, let us move on to our topic because our time is limited. Now, questionnaire is needed by research scholars and PG students because the PG students would be doing some projects, research scholars would be doing their PhD work. So everywhere we require the questionnaire. It's very important. And see, in the research process, when you are doing research or a project, what happens is you collect data and you analyze the data to prove something. So we have a research question. Normally we have a research problem or a research question. So we have to answer that question. For that we require data. And the data has to be analyzed. So in the research, very important process is collecting the data, analyzing the data, and arriving at suitable conclusions. Nowadays, analyzing the data is easy because we have softwares. When I was a research scholar, about 35 years ago, we did not have computers, so we have to do the calculations on our own. Whatever you find in the statistics books, we had to do it manually. The things have changed. Now softwares are available. So analyzing the data is not a difficult exercise because we can use the software. And in fact, there are professionals who will do the analysis for you. And there are different types of analysis: simple analysis, complex analysis. So that side is now very professional. Now, but you have to remember that what you are analyzing is data. So whatever your result of the analysis depends upon the data. If the data is false, still you will do the analysis because the software will do the analysis. Whatever data you give to the software will do the analysis and will give you results. But those results are not meaningful because your data is not correct. So what I'm trying to say is that the two important processes in research is collecting the data, analyzing the data. Analyzing the data is now mostly mechanical. It is done by the software. Whatever data you give, it will be analyzed. But you have to give the correct data. Otherwise, your research is meaningless. Now, how to collect the data? True data. Because I define research as a search for the truth. We are searching for the truth. For that, we require the true data. How to collect the true data? That is a difficult exercise. In fact, I would say it is the most challenging part of your research is collecting the true data. And for that, the instrument that we use, one of the instruments that we use for collecting data is the questionnaire. So this questionnaire has to be designed in such a way that it will give you the true data. That is why today's topic is very important for all researchers. How to prepare, how to design a questionnaire that will give you the true, correct data. Secondly, another important aspect is in all other processes of research, you can get help from other people. Analysis will be done by professionals. Your writing can be now corrected. Again, there are softwares which will correct the grammatical mistakes in your report. So in most of the research processes, you can get help from others. But this is one area where you will have to do the exercise on your own. Nobody will help you. Nobody can help you because the topic is known to you. You are the only person, the researcher is the only person who knows the topic fully. So this is a personal exercise which you have to do. You may get some guidance from your guide and other people, but basically the whole work is your own responsibility, your own headache. So you have to know very correctly how to prepare a good questionnaire because it is your personal work. So it is a difficult exercise. It is something which you have to do on your own. So again, so all this makes this topic interesting, important, and necessary. So with this introduction, I will move to the real topic of designing the questionnaire. I have a presentation. So I will switch off my video, go to the presentation, concentrate on the presentation. I'll send a copy to you later. The slides will be shared with the organizers and you can note down your doubts. Whatever doubts you have, you note down in a notebook. So in between or towards the end of the session, we will have a questionnaire session where you can clarify your doubts. Okay, so with this introductory remarks, let me move to the questionnaire presentations. Okay, right. Can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Is it moving? Moving, right. Okay, fine. So we are ready. So we are having a questionnaire. Look at the spelling correctly. Question 2N. Question double N A-I-R-E. Questionnaire. And we are having the presentation. So let me move to the introductory part. Questionnaire is a research tool. It's a tool in research. We are doing research. PG students and research scholars are doing research, and in the research we use different tools. Statistical software is one tool that we use for data analysis. Similarly, for collecting data, we use a tool which is called Questionnaire. So this is a research tool. This is used for primary data collection. All of you know the meaning of primary data. That is the data that we collect directly from the people, respondents, from the people who are affected by who are involved in our research topic. So this is a tool for primary data. The quality of the research depends upon the reliability and validity of the tool. So the research, whatever data, as I said, was whatever data you give to the software will do the analysis. But the quality of your research depends upon the data and the tool. Because if the tool is correct, it will bring out the correct data, and the data will be analyzed, and you will get good results for your research. So reliability and validity of the tool. So we will look towards the end of the session, we will understand these two words. What is meant by reliability of the tool, what is meant by validity of the tool. First we will study how to prepare the tool, then we will understand the concepts of reliability and validity of the tool. Okay, so let us try to understand how to prepare a good questionnaire. That is the topic today. How to prepare a good questionnaire that will give us the true data. I will start with an example, an exercise rather. So there was a survey by a prominent Indian newspaper. I do not want to name the newspaper. This because it is one of the most prominent newspaper in India. The survey was called Best Cities Survey. Best Cities Survey. They wanted to find out which are the best cities in India. So they were having a primary data collection from people living in different cities and trying to find out which are the best cities in India. And there were several aspects which were studied. I'm just taking one aspect which they studied, that is physical infrastructure of the city. They studied this aspect by asking certain questions to the respondents, and they had a measurement scale. There was a measurement scale. This was the question. This was the question. How would you rate your city in comparison to other cities in India on these parameters? How would you read the question, understand the question? How would you rate your city in comparison to other cities in India on these parameters? So this is the question. Am I audible? Or are you having any disturbance?
No, sir, no.
No problem. Okay. Right. Now there is a scale. This is a scale which they gave. Very good means 5. You can give 5 for very good, good 4, average 3, poor 2, and very poor 1. This is a measurement scale. We will understand all this in detail later. What is the measurement scale? Which scale to use, and so on. We will understand later. So this is a simple concept. So you have, if this is the, for example, power and electricity situation in your city. Read the question. How would you rate your city in comparison to other cities in India on these parameters? First parameter, power and electricity situation in your city. If the power and electricity situation in your city is very good, you give 5. If it is just average, you give 3. So that's the question. Simple. So you have to look at your city. What is the power and electricity situation in your city? How is it comparing with other cities? If it is very good, 5, good 4, and so on. So next parameter is piped water facilities. Piped water facilities. Or the water, because in a city we have water facilities provided. How is it? Public transport facilities. Traffic situation. So what is the traffic situation? What is the transport situation? I'm hiding this one. So whenever, if you are unable to see my slide, tell me, because I will not know. I'm hiding that one. Okay, traffic situation, parking facilities in the city. So these are 5 parameters. You are asked to say, give 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to this. Now, try to do this exercise. You yourself, think of your city. Think of the electricity situation in your city. Is it very well uninterrupted? Is it good? Is it having enough voltage and so on? So look at that, the first one. Let us take the first one. Power, electricity situation in your city. Each of you are coming from a city. I understand there are people from other cities also. So think of your city and think of the power and electricity situation in your city and answer this question. How would you rate your city in comparison to other cities in India on these parameters? Okay, you can unmute your video, audio, and give me your answer for the first one. Power and electricity. Okay, any of you? Feel free. Don't be afraid, because anyway nobody is seeing you, right?
4.
Okay, you are given 4. Okay, which is your city? Where are you coming from?
Alapura.
Okay, you are Alapura. So your city is Alapura, right?
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
right. Now, second, piped water facilities. Anybody else? Piped water facility. Think of the water facility there. In my place, I don't get. I have a water facility, but I don't get it from there. I have a well, so mostly I depend on the well. So that is the situation here. So similarly, think of your situation.
Sir, average.
Average. That means 3. Which is your city?
Sir, Kottayam.
Kottayam. Okay. So Kottayam, you are saying average. Now,
Sir,
public
good.
transport. Okay. Yes. Go ahead. Yeah. Tell me. Anybody else wants to give an answer?
Good.
Yes.
4.
Which city?
Kottayam.
Okay, got it. So 4. Okay, 3, 4. All right. Uh, Public transport. How is the buses available? Is it frequently available? Is it crowded? Uh, Transport facility. Anybody?
Sir, good. Good. Good.
Good. Okay.
4.
Which is your
4.
city? Okay. City. Your city.
Palakkad.
Palakkad. Okay. So you are
Palakkad.
sitting. Oh, right. You are sitting at home and attending, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Good. Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. Okay. See now. So all of you, very easy to answer. So now let us look at this question. This question is prepared by a very prominent newspaper trying to find out the best city surveys in India. Now this question has a mistake because see, how would you rate your city in comparison to other cities? Okay, your city is clear. One of you said Alapura, another person said Kottayam, the third person said Palakkad. That part is clear. Your answer is also clear. But the question is, with which city are you comparing? One person who has been to Delhi may compare it with Delhi. Another person who has not been to Delhi, has only been to Chennai, will compare it with Chennai. Another person who has not been to any of these metropolitan big cities, he would be maybe comparing it with Kochi, the largest city in Kerala. So the answers given, here we are asked to compare. The benchmark is, comparing it with other cities. That is the benchmark. So the benchmark is varying here. Benchmark is, it may be Chennai, it may be Delhi, it may be Mumbai, it may be Kochi, it may be some other city. So the benchmark is varying. Therefore, the result that you get is, for example, say 6 people or 10 people from Palakkad. Supposing 10 people from Palakkad are answering this question about this. But this 10 persons may be comparing it with the different cities. So the answer that you are getting is not comparable. I hope you are getting my point. 10 people from Palakkad may answer this question and give the answer. Data is available. It will be given to the software. Software will do the analysis. Everything is fine. But it's meaningless. Totally meaningless. Whatever you are doing is waste of time. Your whole software exercise is a waste of time. The report is a waste of time because your data is not at all comparable, because one person is comparing Palakkad with Delhi, another person is comparing Palakkad with Chennai, another person may be comparing Palakkad with Mumbai. So it is not comparable. Instead, what they should have done is they should have selected one benchmark, one good city. How would you rate your city in comparison with takes the best city? Say, let us take Mumbai, for example, just an example. I'm not saying Mumbai is good, Mumbai is not good. It's horrible. But let us say, how would you rate your city in comparison with Mumbai in India on this parameter? So the answers that you say that those who are not been to Mumbai don't answer this question because they will not be able to answer this question. So then the answers that you get are true, because all the comparisons are with Mumbai. Therefore, the answers are comparable. True data, comparable data. See here. This is the problem. So they have a research wing. This prominent, you'll be shocked if I reveal the name of the newspaper. So they have a research wing of their own, and they have prepared this questionnaire, and they have done the analysis and they have published in one full page. They have given out, I have got the newspaper cutting with me, one full page. They have given the result with the big fanfare. But I was just laughing because the whole exercise is useless. You understand? See, so if a prominent newspaper with the research department can make such a mistake, what about poor people like us? We are individuals. We are on our own. We have no research wing. We are on our own, struggling to prepare a questionnaire. And definitely, we are likely to make so many mistakes. So keep that in mind. I'm just giving you an example just to show you that this is a difficult exercise, but it is an important exercise, and therefore you should attend different classes and learn it properly before you start preparing your questionnaire. One workshop is not enough. You should attend as many workshops by different people so that you get different perspectives on the preparation of the questionnaire. Because always, if you become a teacher later on, you'll be guiding students to prepare a questionnaire. So this designing a questionnaire is an important topic which will be useful to you. So try to learn it properly, nicely. I wish you all the best to all the participants. Let us move on to the topic now. Okay, now the questionnaire has 4 dimensions. We are going to study the questionnaire. It has 4 dimensions. We will be studying the 4 dimensions of the questionnaire. First is the context. So we are preparing a questionnaire for a particular purpose. We don't prepare a questionnaire unless we have to do it. So here you are doing a research, you have a study, you have a problem, you are studying some people. So those people are the respondents. So that is the context in which you are preparing the questionnaire. So your study, first of all, has a context. And that is the purpose of your study, title of the study, the topic of your study, the research question, objectives, etc. And that context determines the respondents to whom you are going to ask the questions. Okay, so that is the first dimension. So depending upon the respondents, we have to frame the questionnaire. If they are illiterate, you may have to ask them the questionnaire, make it an interview schedule, or make it simple, or convert it into Malayalam or your regional language if it is the respondent. So depending upon the questionnaire, your questionnaire, the type of questions that you prepare and the language in which you prepare, the style of preparing the questionnaire all will differ. Secondly, what is included in the questionnaire? There will be a number of questions. The content of the questionnaire. This is what the information that you want to collect. What are the information that you want to collect? That depends upon that you will get from your literature survey, because you start your research with a literature survey. You first study previous studies on your topic. So, what are the things that people have studied? What is the information that they collected? Then you read your theory. What is the theory relating to your subject? There are so many variables in the theory. So, you have to study all those variables. So, when you read your theory and when you do read previous studies, you will get a lot of information, and that is what you are going to ask the respondents. So, you are going to convert those into questions and collect data regarding those variables or information. So, the content that you are going to include in your questionnaire will come from the literature survey and theoretical review, and there will be different variables. So you'll be studying about different variables. Say, for example, we saw physical infrastructure. When you are studying a city, physical infrastructure is one variable. It has got different dimensions like electricity, water supply, transport, traffic situation, etc. See, so in the same way, the one question which we saw just now. So we have different variables, and the variables again will be subdivided into different components. All this comes from the literature survey and theory. This is the content of your questionnaire. Third dimension of the questionnaire is how to prepare configuration, how to ask the question. There are different ways in which you can ask the question. That is again very important. So you have to get some information, but how do you ask the question? That part is known as configuration of the question. So you want to decide to whom are you going to ask the question. What are you going to ask? That is the second part is what are you going to ask? Third part is how are you going to ask? Configuration. How are you going to ask the question? How are you going to frame the question? And that will influence the data analysis part. The framing of the question will affect the data collection and the analysis. The last part, the fourth dimension, is the quality of the questionnaire. The questionnaire should have quality, and what do you mean by quality? Quality means the reliability and validity of the questionnaire. Reliability and validity of the questionnaire. What do these two terms mean? We will see towards the end of after studying the first three dimensions, we will study the meaning of reliability and validity. So the questionnaire should have reliability and validity. So we are going to study these four things one by one. Context. So the questionnaire has a context. As I said, we are doing a survey, and survey constitutes the principal source of primary data. So primary data is always collected through a survey or observation. Sometimes you can have observation. You sit in a place, observe people, how they are behaving, how they are acting, and that is one method of collecting data. But most important method of collecting data is the survey. You meet people, ask them questions or give them a questionnaire. They will fill up the answers to the questions. So this is the principal source of primary data in our social science research. In fact, it is a fact-finding study. Fact, we are trying to find out the truth, the fact. It is a field study, trying to get the truth, trying to get the facts about many variables. And usually, all these things, we select a sample, a representative sample of the population is selected for the survey. We don't meet all the people who are involved in that problem. Supposing we are studying about people who are taking housing loans. Supposing your study is about house loans. So there are a lot of people who have taken housing loans from different banks. That is the population. We are not studying all the people who have taken housing loans from different banks. We are selecting a sample of the population and meeting only those people and collecting data. How to select the sample, methods of selecting sample, the size of the sample, all these are different. That's a different topic that you have to understand from research methodology books or other classes like this. Okay. Now, in the survey, we have a number of questions. and we will cover a wide range of subjects. In our survey, we have a wide range of subjects. Mostly we can divide those subjects into or questions into 5 groups. We start with demographic characteristics. That is the features of the people or respondents whom we are meeting. What is their gender? What is their age? Or what is their residential status? Where do they live? Okay, so these are the demographic characteristics of the people. What is their family? How many members are there in the family? Are they head of the family? And so on. Then we collect, if relevant, we will collect some data regarding the social conditions if it is related to our study. We'll collect data regarding their economic conditions, what is their income, the expenses, savings, etc., if it is related to the study. But mostly we come to the last 2 things. Supposing you're studying about, as I said, housing loans. So they have taken housing loans, they are not repaying, they may repay, they may not repay, or so they're facing problems in repaying. So there are a lot of problems there because you've heard of a NPA, non-performing assets. So the bank, as far as the bank is concerned, if a loan is not repaid, they have a problem. They have to classify it as a non-performing assets later on. So that situation is not good. It's not an ideal situation. Everybody who takes the loan should repay. That is the ideal situation. So if the repayment does not happen, we have a problem. That is the problem that you're studying. That is your research problem. Why they are not repaying? What is causing the delay in repayment? What are the factors influencing their non-repayment? So many factors, so many things. So that is the problem that we are studying. So therefore, there we have to collect the people's opinions and attitudes regarding this problem. So we have to collect data regarding people's opinions and attitudes regarding this non-payment of loan. Similarly, people's behavior. Are they repaying on time? Are they making default? Or are they paying partly? So are they misusing this loan for some other purpose? So what is their behavior and activities relating to housing loan? So 4 things are there. One is their opinion. Second is their attitude towards the whole problem. Third is their behavior. How do they behave? And fourth is the different activities they are engaged in. So in every study, social science study, people's opinions, attitudes, behaviors, activities have to be studied. But these 4 things are not visible. We cannot see them. We can only ask them. It is in their mind. We don't see them. So they have to reveal it. So they may tell a lie or they may tell the truth. So through our question, we have to get the truth regarding their opinions, attitudes, behaviors, and so on, which we do not see. It's not visible. So we are entirely depending upon the respondents to give the truth. Because the truth is only in their mind, only they know. What is their opinion? Only they know, nobody else knows. So there is the challenge. We should design the questionnaire in such a way that they should reveal the opinions and attitudes and behaviors. That is the difficult part of the questionnaire designing. If you simply ask them what is their attitude, they will not answer it correctly. They will hide it. So the direct approach will not help here. The direct approach will not help here. We have to adopt an indirect approach to get the real truth regarding their attitudes, opinions, and so on. So here comes the problem. Whereas in the case of economic conditions, social conditions, housing condition, so the person who is going to giving the questionnaire will be able to, they are visible. Say that you can see their house, the status of the house. So even if they tell a lie, we can correct it because we are actually seeing it. Their economic conditions, there are records for that. So their income, savings, and so on. There are records are available there. So those are mostly visible, not hidden. But this is all hidden. Opinions, attitudes, they are hidden. So in our designing the questionnaire, we will be concentrating on this part, how to get the opinions and attitudes, the behaviors, activities, etc. Okay. So now let us look at how to prepare a questionnaire. What are the steps involved in preparing a questionnaire? Supposing you have come to the stage of preparing a questionnaire and you are going to start preparing questionnaire. What are the steps involved? The first step is we have to list out the information that we require. What is the information that you want? What are the different types of information that we require? So we have to list out the information that we require, because that is what we are going to ask them. This is the content of the questionnaire. Then this information we have to convert it into questions so that we can get answers to these questions. And the answers to the questions will be the information that you require. So we have to convert it into questions. And the questions have to be arranged, sequencing of questions into a logical order. So one question should lead to the next question, and so on. Simple questions should come first, and difficult questions should come later on, and so on. So sequencing of questions into a logical order, because the whole questionnaire is one piece. That is, it is all connected. It is all connected, one leading to the next. So the whole thing must be one beautiful, important document which will give the true data. So we follow what is called a funnel method. You know, a funnel which has a broad opening, then comes to a narrow closing. Funnel method. This is used for sequencing. That is, broad questions will be asked first. We'll be asking about their gender, their residential status, education qualifications. So those questions can be easily answered. There are no personal involvement there. So, but then we move to difficult questions, specific questions regarding their behavior towards the loan repayment. So that is confidential. So they will find it difficult to answer those questions. So we will convert them into a indirect way. The questions will be asked in a or the information will be collected. Confidential information will be collected in an indirect way. That is what we are going to study. So then we will conduct a pilot study to pre-test whether our questions are good, whether people are able to understand and answer these questions. So that is the pre-test or pilot study. Then after the pilot study, modifications will be based on the pilot study. We can make modifications in the questionnaire, and the final draft will be ready, and we will use it for our data collection. So this is the way in which you proceed. These are the steps involved. What are the information that we require? How to convert into questions, arrange the questions in an order, have a pilot study, make modifications based on the pilot study, and prepare the final draft. Now we are going to see how to prepare the information needs, then how to convert it into questions. These are the things that we are going to see step by step. Right. So the contents. What is it that will be included in the questionnaire? What is the information that we want from the questionnaire? The information. How to convert it into questions, that we will see later. First, what is the content? What should be the content? What is the information that you want? So the questionnaire is seeking information. Remember, questionnaire is seeking information on different types of variables related to the study. So the questionnaire is seeking information on different types of variables related to the study. Remember the question from the newspaper. The variables used there. Physical infrastructure is one variable. That was divided into electricity, water supply, traffic, parking. See, so these are the variables. We want information on these variables. I hope you are following me. So that's simple one question. I just gave you one question. In that question, we are dealing with the different variables. Physical infrastructure, which is divided into 4 or 5 variables, 5 small variables like electricity, water supply, etc. So through the questionnaire, we are seeking information on different types of variables related to study. Now, the question is, from where do you get these variables? The variables will come from previous studies, from the theory. So, from the theory and the previous studies, you will get the variables. So, and that variables will be included in the questionnaire. How the question will be asked, that is the next part. We will see that next. Now, the variables may be objective or subjective. This is important. The variables may be objective or subjective. See the physical infrastructure, what we mentioned there. They are objective, we can see them. You can see the transport facility, you can see the parking facility, you can see you can feel the electricity situation. So they are all visible, objective. Like say income, your marital status, your gender. All these are objective, it's based on the object. It is based on the object and it is visible. Then we have variables which are subjective. Subjective. The feelings, attitudes, perceptions. So these are in the mind of the people. That is why it is called subjective. This is in the mind of the subject, the respondent. The feelings are not visible. It is within the mind of the person. The attitude is not visible. It is in the mind of the person. The perception of a person is not visible to us. It is in his mind. We cannot see it, but we need it. So we have to understand, we need what are your feelings, what are your attitudes, what are your perceptions. We need to get the information. But how to get the information? It is in their mind. See, it is in their mind. So marital status, gender, you can see a person, what is his gender, marital status, he will reveal, or we can inquire to the neighboring house, they will tell whether the person is married or unmarried. So the society knows what is happening. Income, the more or less the income, even if he tells a lie, we can verify it from other sources. But the feelings and attitudes and perceptions, only that person knows, nobody else knows. But we, for our data, for our analysis, for our research, we require this. How to get this? That is the question. So we require a method of asking these things in an indirect way. That is our main focus later on. Remember here, variables may be objective or subjective. And the subjective variables have to be operationally defined. What do you mean by a feeling, particular feeling? What do you mean by that? Or attitude towards something? What do you mean? What do you want? No. What do you want to know? So that attitude has to be defined and it has to be measured. What is your attitude? Is it positive or negative? High or low? So that has to be measured. What is your feeling towards something? Is it negative or positive? Is it high or low? So that has to be measured. So subjective variables have to be properly defined. So we have to have a clear idea, because income, all of us know, it is already defined. It is already defined. We don't have to define. The researcher does not have to define what is a marital status or gender or income. It is already defined. But in the case of subjective variables, it depends on our study. Maybe the perception or attitude towards non-repayment of loans. So it is related to our study, so it has to be defined what we mean by this attitude, and it has to be measured, because it can have different dimensions. It may be low or high or positive or negative, so it has to be measured. So we have to use a measurement scale. So in our questionnaire, we will require measurement scales to measure the subjective variables. So we have to study measurement scales. We will be studying shortly the measurement scales. Okay, now we are going to start with how to define a subjective variable. Then we will study how to measure. So these are the two things that we are going to study. How to define how to define a subjective variable and how to measure the variables. The operational definition. Okay. Now, a variable is a concept. A variable is a variable means something which is varying. It's a concept. It is in our mind, right? But it may have many dimensions. So physical infrastructure is a concept which has different dimensions like electricity, water supply, traffic situation, parking facility. So the concept is broad. It may have dimensions. We call it D. And the dimensions are these components of the variable. Physical infrastructure. The components of the physical infrastructure. The components of the physical infrastructure are electricity, water supply, parking, traffic, etc. So they are called dimensions. So physical infrastructure is a broad concept. It has got dimensions. Now each dimension may have again subdivisions. We will take some examples. And those subdivisions, if there are some subdivisions, we will call them elements. So there will be a variable is generally a broad concept which may be subdivided into components called dimensions, and each dimension may again be subdivided into components and we call them elements. So C, D, E. Easy to remember. C, D, E. So the elements are the measurable aspects or features of each dimension. So we are going to measure the elements if there are elements. Otherwise, we are going to measure the dimensions. In the newspaper case, we were trying to measure the dimensions. In the newspaper example, we were trying to measure the dimensions, whether they were very good, good or average. But in some cases, there may be still subdivisions called elements, and then we will be measuring the elements. Okay. You will understand it better when I give you the next slide with an example. We will take an example where we have a concept and dimensions and elements. Then already the physical infrastructure is a good example. Physical infrastructure with 5 different components or dimensions. Now I'll give you another example with the concept, dimensions and elements. Then you will understand it better. Okay, now remember just the 3 words: concept, dimensions, elements. Okay. Now I'm going to give you, this is the graphic representation. See, a concept may be subdivided into D1, D2, D3, etc. D1 again may be subdivided into E1, E2, etc. Or there may be many elements, E1, E2, E3, E4, etc. This is just a graphical representation. So, before you start preparing your questionnaire, you should sit down and prepare what are your variables first. Then take each variable, try to find out what are the dimensions. Then for each dimension, are there elements? If there are elements, you find out the elements. And your questionnaire will be based on the elements. Okay. When I give you the example only, you will understand that. Okay, I'm going to give you the example. Let us say, look at this. Let us prepare the dimensions and elements of the concept job satisfaction. It is a topic which everybody can understand. It's a common topic, job satisfaction. It's a variable. Supposing you are studying about job satisfaction in IT industry or banking industry or some other sector, education sector. So job satisfaction is your study. Your study is related to job satisfaction. Fine. Then you are not going to ask a question, are you satisfied with your job? See, your question is not on that concept. Your concept is job satisfaction, but we are not going to ask a question, are you satisfied with the job? Very satisfied, fully satisfied, partly satisfied? No, that is not the question and answer. We have to divide this because this job satisfaction has many dimensions and elements. We have to clearly understand the dimensions and elements, then ask questions on the elements. And the total of all the score for the elements will be your score for the job satisfaction. We'll see. I have got many examples. So from the examples, you will understand what I am saying just now. Okay. Normally, if it is an offline class, we do an exercise there in the class itself. I asked the participants to prepare the dimensions and elements, but here it is not possible. So I will show you. I will show you the dimensions and elements in the next slide. But before that, what is the situation? Are you following me? Because I just want to know your feedback. Are you with me? Following me? Am I too slow? I sometimes it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Then I can continue confidently. Right. So we are going to understand job satisfaction, the dimensions and elements. So this will be applicable to any subject you are studying. I have just taken a topic which is easy. But whatever be your topic, don't think about your topic now. Now concentrate on this one. Later on in the evening, when you as an exercise, you can go back and apply this to your topic. Now let us understand. See here, when you say job satisfaction, you should be satisfied with so many things which are part of your job. Only then you can say you have job satisfaction. Let us look at the dimension, the work. You are doing some work. So when you say job satisfaction, supposing you are teaching, education sector, you are a teacher or a bank employee, you are working there. So that work is the first dimension. Now, this dimension can again be subdivided into, it has got again subdivisions, components. The nature of the work. Is it difficult? Is it easy? Is it simple? Is it complicated? Is it based on computers? Or is it based on direct interaction? And so on. Pressure of the work. Is there pressure to complete the work on time? Or are you free to complete the work according to your time? So that pressure of the work, if the pressure increases, you will not be satisfied. Ease of doing the work. Is it easy to do the work or is it difficult to do the work? Some works are easy, some types of jobs are difficult. So what is it? What is the work environment there? Do you have a good table? Do you have an AC air conditioned room? Do you have enough space to sit and work? And so on. So do you have enough time to have some break, lunch, tea break and so on? See the work environment. I hope now you are following. See, job satisfaction involves the satisfaction regarding so many things. One of the things is the work itself, which again may be subdivided into elements, such as nature of work, pressure of work, and so on. So work is a dimension. Nature of work, pressure of work, ease of doing work are the elements. We will be asking questions on the elements. We will not be asking questions on job satisfaction or work. We will be asking questions on the nature of the work, pressure of the work, ease of doing. Because only that can be answered correctly. Truly and correctly, the answer will come only regarding nature of the work and pressure of the work, and that will indicate your job satisfaction. So unless you divide this, you cannot ask the proper questions. You cannot get the correct data. So we want the correct data, not some data, not any data. Any data can be analyzed. That is a different aspect. But we want the data regarding job satisfaction, the correct data regarding job satisfaction that can come only when you subdivide it into dimensions and elements and ask questions regarding the elements. Second aspect or second dimension is the relation with the superior. Definitely you will have a superior. If you are working in an education institution, you have the head of the department, you have the principal. If you are working in a bank, you have the bank manager or assistant managers. So any situation, there will be a superior. So what is your relation with the superior? That is a dimension which involves different elements like are you receiving any guidance? Is the superior giving you guidance? Is the superior recognition by the superior? Is he recognizing the good work that you are doing? Is he supervising what you are doing? What is the comfort level of the relation? Are you comfortable, or are you afraid of the superior? Are you comfortable with the superior? Are you friendly with the superior? Or are you only having an official relation with the superior, and so on? So these are the elements. Okay, I think now you have got an idea about what I mentioned about dimensions and elements. Concept, dimensions, elements. Next dimension, social status of the job, because social status of the job is something which will add to your job satisfaction. Social status. Oh, the elements are the society's perception of your job. What is the society's perception of your job? Then self-assessment of your status. What is your own assessment of the status of your job? Are you perceiving that your job is important to the society? So that is your self-assessment, etc. Then participation in decision making, because so many decisions have to be made. What is your role there? Are you neglected, or are you given importance in the decision making process? Participation in decisions. Are you participating in decisions? Communication of the decisions. Are the decisions communicated to you? The decisions taken at different levels, are they communicated to you? Communication of suggestions. Can you give some suggestions? Are you, or do they accept those suggestions? So, see, these are all things which will add to your job satisfaction. If these things are not there, your job satisfaction, you will not be satisfied with your job. Okay? So, I think you are now understanding what is meant by concept, dimensions, elements. Very important dimension is the monetary aspects. The monetary aspects is a very important dimension. This again has elements like your salary, first of all. What is your salary? What are the perquisites? Have you got leave, facilities, medical leave, loss of pay leave, or travel concessions? So, what are the perquisites that you are enjoying? What are the promotion prospects? Are there any promotion prospects, or are you just stuck with the place that you are now? So, these are very important elements. Then we have grievance, because anyway, in every organization there will be grievances, there will be problems. So, is there a grievance redressal mechanism? Is it available? Is it effective? What is the effectiveness? Is it fair? If supposing you have a grievance, is the grievance remedied? So, is it fair? Is it effective? Is it available, first of all? So, these are. So, now we have got a whole list of concept and its dimensions and elements. Now you can prepare the questionnaire by asking questions on the elements. Then the important question comes, how to ask the questions. How to ask the questions and how to measure the answers. That is the configuration. How to ask the questions, because the question has to be asked in an indirect way so that they will give you the true data. Very often you may have to adopt an indirect method, and we have to measure their attitudes, perceptions, and so on. So this we will study shortly. Now we are trying to understand the three words: concept, dimensions, and elements. Now in this context, two important terms used are constructs and items. Constructs and items. So when you prepare a questionnaire, we have this terminology, constructs and items. So let us understand what is meant by a construct. Perceptions, attitudes, psychological traits are not directly observable. As I said before, you cannot see the perceptions, you cannot see the attitudes of people. The psychological traits, what is their psychological trait of a person? They are not directly visible. So we call them latent. Latent means hidden. Hidden. These are latent variables. Hidden variables, but they are required for our study. We need those variables. We need information about those variables. but they are hidden. And these latent variables which are hidden are called constructs. The perception or attitude of a consumer towards a product which he purchased is a latent variable. It is in his mind, but we want to know that. The marketing manager would like to know that. So we call it, for the time being, we call it constructs. Okay, so remember what is a construct? It is a latent variable, unobserved variable, mostly perceptions, attitudes, psychological traits, etc. Example. Read the example, then you can understand it better. The perception of an employee regarding job satisfaction. That is what we were seeing as an example. The perception of an employee regarding his job satisfaction. It is in his mind, we don't know. We will call it a construct. Attitude of a consumer towards a product which he has purchased or which he is intending to purchase. What is his attitude towards that? Is it favorable or unfavorable? Is it high or low? So it is a construct. Organizational commitment of an employee. An employee is working in an organization. What is his commitment to the organization? The HR manager would like to know that, but it is hidden. And we will call it a construct. Now, these constructs are assessed and measured with the help of several statements, both positive and negative, regarding the different aspects of the construct. Read that again. So we want to know this. We want to get information about this construct. So how are we going to do that? So what we are going to do is these constructs are assessed and measured with the help of several statements. So we are going to use several statements. Positive and negative statements will be there. These statements will be regarding the different aspects of the construct. Different aspects of the construct. The dimensions and elements. Earlier we said about job satisfaction. The dimensions are the constructs and the elements will be the items. So we are going to prepare some statements regarding the elements so that we can understand his attitude towards that. Okay. Again, when I give examples, you will understand better. These statements are referred to as items of the construct. So the construct has different items. And these items are statements regarding different aspects of that construct or hidden variable. So we are going to prepare different statements regarding the different aspects or dimensions of the hidden variable, which is called a construct. So the hidden variable is called the construct. Different statements about that construct or hidden variable are called items. The items may be positive statements or negative statements, and we are going to measure these statements using a measurement scale. The measurement scale we will see later. Suitable rating scale, such as Likert scale or itemized rating scale. There are different scales. We will study the different scales, and these scales may be used for measurement. So in the questionnaire, we will be using a technology or a method called construct and items to measure the hidden variables, attitudes, perceptions, feelings, etc. So they are known as construct. We call them constructs, and we are not asking them about, we are not asking any questions about that. We are preparing statements about that, and we will be using a measurement scale to measure the attitude and so on. Let's take an example. Then it will become clearer to you. Supposing attitude towards e-learning. Supposing you are studying attitude, because everybody is now into e-learning. We are having an e-learning session. So e-learning has become very popular after COVID. So supposing there's a study on e-learning, because is this e-learning effective? An important question that we want to know. Very important research question is e-learning effective? It's a research question. So you can do a research study, and therefore you will be trying to understand what is the attitude towards e-learning, attitude of teachers, students, etc. towards e-learning. So this is attitude, it is hidden. So we call it a construct because it is hidden. We are calling it a construct. Now, so how are we going to measure this? It is in the mind of the student or teacher. So what is in the mind of the student has to come out. How can we do that? That is the question. For that, we are going to prepare some statements. And these statements are called items. Use of IT tools enhances the quality of teaching. We are not asking about his attitude. We are not asking what is your attitude. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it favorable? Is it unfavorable? We are not asking such questions. We are simply giving a statement. Use of IT tools enhances the quality of teaching. Then we give a scale, an agreement scale. Fully agree, partly agree, neither agree nor disagree, disagree, fully disagree. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the person will say whether he agrees with this or whether he disagrees with this. If he agrees with this, if he gives 5 or 4 as a score, so simple, we are simply giving a statement. We are asking him whether he is agreeing with the statement. If he is agreeing with the statement, that indicates a favorable attitude towards e-learning. See, that is how we are trying to measure, understand his attitude towards e-learning, not directly, indirectly. Second statement. Face-to-face classroom teaching is an effective method of teaching. Face-to-face classroom teaching, offline teaching is an effective method of teaching. If he agrees with this statement, that means his attitude towards e-learning is negative. He does not have a favorable attitude towards e-learning. Suppose he disagrees with this, then we say his attitude towards e-learning is favorable. So that is why. So there will be different statements. Some of them regarding, some of them saying that e-learning is good, some of them saying that e-learning is not good. So we are simply giving different statements about e-learning. Some statement will say e-learning is good, some statement will say e-learning is not good. So if he agrees with all the statements regarding e-learning, he has a positive attitude. If he disagrees with the statement regarding the disadvantages of e-learning, then also he has a positive attitude. It is difficult to switch over to an IT-enabled teaching learning process. It is difficult. That means if you agree to this, that means he is favoring offline class. See, his attitude is towards offline. If he says no, he doesn't agree, then his attitude is towards e-learning. Adoption of IT tools in teaching learning has become a fashion. So people say it is only a fashion. It is not useful, it is not effective. We are trying to find out whether e-learning is effective. So we are giving a statement saying that adoption of IT tools in teaching learning has become a fashion only. It is not effective. So if he agrees with that, he has a low attitude towards e-learning. Use of IT tools promotes student-centric learning. Use of IT tools promotes student-centric learning. That means using IT tools is helping the students to learn how to use different softwares, different methodologies. You collect data using IT tools and so on. It is good for the students. Then if he agrees with this statement, then his attitude towards e-learning is positive. So this is called construct and items which are used to measure the attitude towards something. The attitude is hidden, latent variable. So we call it a construct. We use different statements and we ask the respondent to agree or disagree, or other measurement scales are also there. We will study that. So this is in simple words, very effective method of collecting data regarding hidden variables, construct and items. Another example. See, we saw job satisfaction, we saw relation with superior. That is a dimension there. Relation with the superior is a dimension. And if you remember there, we have got there, I will just show you. Read that. Relation with the superior. It's a dimension. It is hidden. Only the superior and the employee knows what is the relation. Now, what are the elements? What are the elements? Guidance received, recognition, supervision, comfort level of the relation. So these are the elements. Now, this relation with the superior is hidden. Therefore, we call it a constructor. These elements, we are going to prepare statements regarding each of these elements. See, we are going to prepare statements regarding each of the elements. You can have one statement, two statements, three statements for each one. So we will be preparing statements regarding each element, and that statement will be called items. Items. So the employee will be asked to agree or disagree with these statements, and through that we can understand his relation with the superior. So this is what we are going to see. First statement. My superior shows a great deal of recognition. See, element, recognition for a job well done. So we are simply giving a statement. My superior shows a great deal of recognition for a job well done. When I do a job well, he recognizes it. I am satisfied with the guidance, another element, guidance. I am satisfied with the guidance received from my superior. So if a person agrees with this, he has a good relation with the superior. If a person agrees with the first statement, he has a good relation with the superior. If he disagrees with the statements, that means he has a poor relation with the superior. I feel that my superior is closely monitoring my work. So monitoring, supervision. Monitoring means supervision. Another element. So I feel that my superior is closely monitoring my work. Okay, so or you can prepare a statement. I feel that my superior is not at all monitoring my work. You can say my superior is not at all monitoring my work. If he disagrees with that, that means his relation with the superior is good. If he disagrees, that means the superior is monitoring his work. Okay. I am dissatisfied with the leadership that I am getting from my superior, because the superior is supposed to provide leadership. I am dissatisfied. If he agrees with the statement, he has a poor relation with the superior. If he disagrees with the statement, he has a good relation with the superior. My relation with the superior is official in nature. It's not personal. It is simply official. I go there when I require something, go and meet him. That's all. Nothing personal. So it's not. If he agrees with this, it shows a poor relationship with the superior. If he disagrees with this, it shows a good relation with the superior. Okay, I think you have understood what is meant by constructed items. This is the indirect way of understanding hidden variables called latent variables. Okay. Okay, let me give you another example. Concept and dimensions an example. The concept is, this is an actual study, perceived risk in e-commerce shopping. E-commerce shopping is becoming very popular, but there is a lot of risk there. So the study is about the perceived risk. Perceived risk. What is the risk perception about e-commerce shopping of people who are engaging in e-commerce? That is the subjective belief of suffering a loss while shopping online. So there are a lot of complaints about e-shopping. They are sometimes adopting unfair practices and so on. So it's a study about that. The dimensions are, it's about the risk of e-commerce shopping. So the dimensions are financial risk, product or performance risk, time risk, psychological risk, privacy risk, and convenience risk. So our study is about the perceived risk in e-commerce shopping. This risk can be of different types. Each type of risk is called a dimension. Financial risk, product or performance risk, time risk, psychological risk, privacy risk, convenience risk. Now, it's only a dimension. That means each dimension will have elements. Financial risk. There may be different types of financial risk. You may be charged extra. You may be having some hidden, they may be having some hidden cost, delivery charges, or sometimes your money may be debited twice. So many different elements are involved. Similarly, each one. Privacy risk. Your data, private data may be shared with others, or some of your data may be misused. So many different types of risk. Have you understood now? Concept, dimensions, and elements. So we can prepare the questionnaire only after finding out what are the elements of each of these risks. Then we will move to construct and items. Okay, after understanding the elements, we can move to construct and items. I'll show you the construct and items. Let us take financial risk first. Financial risk is a construct. So we do not know, it is hidden, only that person knows. Only the person who has done a shopping knows what risk he faced. So he has to reveal that. So we have not seen that. It is hidden. Now, so we prepare statements regarding the different aspects. So these different aspects are the elements. I am concerned about providing my payment card details. My debit card or credit card details on e-commerce sites, fearing misuse of the same. So misuse of your card details is an element. Misuse of your card details is an element. So here we are giving a statement about that. I am concerned about it. If you agrees with this, that means there is financial risk. I am concerned about charging hidden costs in the name of delivery, warranty, etc. in addition to the displayed price. So in addition to the displayed price, there are hidden costs like delivery charges, warranty charges, and so on. So I am concerned about that. That is another element. And if this customer agrees with that, that means he is facing financial risk. I'm concerned about technical failure of the e-commerce website. When I'm trying to make the payment, the site fails, the bank site or the payment site fails. So failure of the payment site is another element of the financial risk. So there are different elements in the financial risk. For each element, we are constructing a simple statement and asking the person to agree or disagree. If he agrees, that means there is risk there. Okay. So this is one example. Similarly, I have got for each one, this is an active study which was completed. So for product and performance risk, again, there are elements there. Time risk, there are elements there. Psychological risk, again, there are elements. Privacy risk, there are elements. Convenience risk, again, there are elements. Okay, so we are coming to the second part. So now we have understood how to prepare the questionnaire in the form of constructs and elements, but we need measurement scales. How to measure this agreement, these statements. So by using measurement scales, that is the second part of our study. I think I'll just give you about 5 minutes break, just to have a break, just to relax. Or it's now 11:06, so I'll come back by 11:10. Okay. My watch shows 6 minutes past 11, so we'll come back at, or 11:15, we'll start at 11:15. Okay, we'll start at 15 minutes past 11. Okay. Is it okay, organizers?
Okay, sir.
Okay, right. Okay, we can start. People are joining. I'm just watching. Yes. Right. Measurement of variables. We are going to start the second part of our discussion, which is measurement of variables. Can you see the slide and hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we can use two types of scales. So scale, we are familiar with the scale. If you want to measure the length, we use a scale, which is consisting of 12 inches. So we have 1 foot. So 12 inches or centimeters. Similarly, here also we are going to use scales. Two types of scales are there. They are commonly known as attitudinal scales. First is called rating scale. We are asked to rate something, our opinion, our perception about our attitude. What is our attitude? So rate the scale. Second is rank. Supposing you have given 5 different items, so we have to rank them in order of importance or in order of our preference and so on. So that is the ranking scale. The ranking scale, most of us are familiar with. The rating scale is what we have to understand. So we start with the rating scale. Rating scale. First and simple scale is the dichotomous scale. The answer to which is yes or no. For example, we are asking them whether are you married? Yes, no. Have you passed a particular training? Yes, no. So these are dichotomous questions. Sometimes we may use them. Mostly in our studies we may not require this, but sometimes we may have to use them. So yes or no. Now, so usually we give numbers to these answers. So in the questionnaire, we give numbers to the answers because we want data, not alphabetical words. We are not analyzing words. We are going to analyze data. So these answers have to be converted into data. So in the questionnaire itself, we will give the number so that the person who is entering this data into the computer will enter the numbers, not this yes and no. He will enter, supposing you say 1, yes, 2, no. So he will enter 1. If your answer is yes, he will enter 1. If your answer is no, he will enter 2. So in the questionnaire itself, when you are preparing the questionnaire itself, give the numbers for each answer. So each answer will have a number. Okay. Another scale, again familiar scale, category scale. So the respondent to whom we are doing the questionnaire, he may belong to a particular category, male category or female category, urban, rural, semi-urban category. Okay, so we categorize the respondents into different groups. Again, give number 1 male, 2 female, 1 urban, 2 rural, 3 semi-urban, etc. So category scale. third scale, common scale. There are many scales. Important. We are looking at the important scales, which are useful to our study. Very useful scale is called the Likert scale, which is an agreement to statements. It's a 5-point scale. There are 5 points. Like, if we take a scale measuring 1 foot, there are 12 inches. There are 12 points. So in a 1 foot scale, there are 12 points. 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, etc. Similarly, this scale has 5 points. 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What does this 5 means? 2 mean? What does 1 mean? 2 mean? 3 mean? We'll see. So this scale is called a Likert scale. It is used for measuring the agreement to different statements on a 5-point scale. So there are only 5 points in the scale, and each point has a meaning. And the meaning is like this. The scale point 5 means fully agree, 4 means agree, 3 means neither agree nor disagree, that is neutral, 2 means disagree, 1 means fully disagree. And this is familiar to all of us, Likert scale. This is given by a person called Likert. Therefore, the scale is called a Likert scale. That is the name of the person who gave the scale. So we cannot call it by other names. We call it a Likert scale. Now, one doubt some people have asked me is, see, when you say fully disagree, why don't we give 0? If you say fully disagree, you are not agreeing with the statement at all. Why don't we give 0? That was one question some students asked. In our measurement scales, we do not give 0. Not only in the scale, even in the other scales that we are going to study, we do not use 0, because 0 is a very, mathematically, it's a very complex number. 0 is a number, very important number. It's a complex number. It has got very dimensions. So statistically, when you're doing the calculations, it can create complications. Therefore, we are avoiding that 0, and the scales will only have 1, the least. 1 means least, 5 means the highest. The highest score, lowest score. So we don't give 0, remember that. In none of the scales, we will be giving 0. The lowest score will always be 1. Highest score may be 5 or 7 or 3. Or highest score may vary, but lowest score will always be 1, not 0. Remember that. Okay, so we have studied 3 scales. Now we are moving on to the 4th scale. Or before that, we have something called a composite score or scale. Composite score, because we have seen construct and items. In the construct and items, the items are belonging to the same construct. Supposing there are 5 statements, we have seen 3 statements. So several statements can be used to measure a particular attitude or perception or construct. So several statements are used to measure the same construct, same attitude. So, and each statement will be given a score. There will be a score. We can total that score, the total of the 5 statements. Each statement is used to represent one aspect of the domain, one aspect of the construct, one aspect of the hidden attitude. So each statement is measuring the same attitude. It is measuring the different aspects of the same attitude. And so each statement will have a score. It may be 5, it may be 4, it may be 1, it may be 3, it may be 4 again. So by summing up the respondents' responses to the multiple statements in the scale, the attitude is measured. So what is the measurement of the construct? It is the total of the responses given for each statement. The response given for each statement is added up. That represents the score of the construct, and that score is called a composite score because it is the total. Composite score, composite scale. Example, job satisfaction. So we can measure job satisfaction by adding up the score given for each statement of each dimension. I'll give you an example. Look here. Relation with superior, which is one of the dimensions of job satisfaction. Relation with the superior, we are calculating the composite score. Each statement is measuring the same thing. It is measuring the same construct or same attitude, same hidden variable, which is the relation with the superior. The first statement is given 5. Somebody has given, one person has given 5 for the first statement. Second, he has given 4. And third, he has given 3. Fourth statement, I am dissatisfied with the leadership. I am dissatisfied with the leadership. So he has disagreed with this. He has given 2. He is disagreeing with that. So that means he is actually having a good relation with the superior. So the score has to be reversed because this is a negative statement. So the negative statements, the score of the negative statement has to be reversed. This is a negative statement. I am dissatisfied with the leadership. The person has disagreed with the statement and given a score of 2. That means disagree. That means he is partly agreeing. Partly disagreeing means when he is disagreeing with the negative statement, that means he is partly agreeing with, or he is having a score of 4 with regard to the relation with the superior. So we are reversing the score because he is disagreeing with the negative statement. We are making it an agreement to a positive statement. So it is 4. My relation with the superior is official in nature. He is disagreeing with that. He is partly disagreeing. So it is a negative statement. So we are converting it into a positive statement. Partly agreeing. Positive statement. The score is reversed. So remember that all negative statements, if a person disagrees with that, then we have to reverse the score. Because when he is disagreeing with the negative statement, he is a positive person. Disagreeing with the negative statement, he is a positive person. So score has to be converted into a positive score. Right. So we have total is 20. Minimum is 5, maximum is 25. Because for each one, a person may give a minimum of 1. So the minimum score may be 5 and the maximum score 5 into 5, 25. This particular person has given a score of 20. So his composite score for the dimension relation with the superior is 20. This is known as a composite score. So this is how this will be analyzed later on. The analysis people will use the score. Okay. Similarly, for example, dimensions of perceived risk, we saw a study earlier, perceived risk. So we have got 5, 6 different risks were there: financial risk, product risk, time risk. The items, this is a construct. This perceived risk, financial risk is a construct. Items, there are 3 statements, so we say there are 3 items. The mean score means the total of the 3 items divided by 3. Each statement, say first one, financial risk, there are 3 statements and each statement has a score. We total the score and divide it by 3, so we get the mean score. So mean is 3.38. Standard deviation, next column, standard deviation is 1.11. Level of risk is high because the 5-point scale. So in the 5-point scale, 3.38 means high risk. Product risk, mean score is 3.43, we say high risk. Time risk is 2.66 only. The mean risk is 2.66, so it is low. Psychological risk, the score is only 2.71, so we say there is a low psychological risk. Privacy risk is high, 3.38, and convenience risk is also high, 3.38. Looking at the last left side, levels based on quartiles of the 5-point scale. The 5-point scale, so we fix the low, medium, high, above, average, and so on based on the quartiles. Quartile is 1.5, 3 is the median, 4.5 is the next quartile. So 1 to 1.5, very low. 1.5 to 3, low. 3 is moderate, that is the median. 3 to 4.5, high. And above 4.5, we say very high. So this is how, I'm just giving an example of how the measurement is done. So first we measure the statements, then we find out the composite score. The composite score can be converted into a mean score by dividing by the number of items. So for example, in the previous case, 20 can be divided by 5. Because there are 5 statements, 5 items. So 20 is the total score divided by 5. So the average score will be, mean score will be 4. In this case, relation with the superior, the mean score is 4. That is 20 divided by 5. Okay, so this is how the analysis is done. Right. Now we are moving to, so we studied Likert scale and how to create a composite scale from the Likert scale and how to understand different constructs and items, the score of the constructs. Now we are going to study another scale which may be used, which is called semantic differential scale or numerical scale. Now, what you have to do is understand the different scales. Keep it in your notebook. When you are preparing the questionnaire, if the particular scale is relevant to your question or your questionnaire, use it. Use it. Anyway, definitely Likert scale will be used. In most of the questionnaires, the Likert scale will be used. The other scales depends. Sometimes they will be relevant, then you can use it. Otherwise, don't use it. Just because you know the scales, don't think you have to use all these scales. Not at all. Know and understand the scales and use it according to your relevance in your questionnaire. Right. Here what we are doing is an attribute is divided into two extremes. Bipolar means two extremes. Bipolar attributes are identified at the extremes of the scale. So we have as a scale with two extremes. One is useless, the other is useful. So one extreme is useful, the other extreme is useless. So it may be very useful, it may be less useful, it may be totally useless. So that depends. We have to measure that. So how useful is it? How useless is it? We have to measure using a scale. The extremes are this, useful and useless. The respondent's attitude towards a particular product, whether it is useful or useless, that respondent's attitude is indicated on a semantic scale or a numerical scale. Say, look here, the first one, useful with some dots, useless. So if you are using dots, we call it a semantic scale. How many dots are there? There will be 7 dots are there. You count the dots, 7 dots are there. So you can tick one of the dots, indicating your response. So you can either tick the dot close to useful, that means very useful, or you can tick a dot towards the end, useless. So it is up to you. Or we can use numbers instead of the dots. See, this is the same scale. In one case, we are giving dots. Second scale, we are giving numbers. So you can take one of the numbers. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Satisfied, dissatisfied. This is a 7-point scale. Likert scale is a 5-point scale. This is a 7-point scale. So you are using 7 points to give your response towards the usefulness of a product or satisfaction regarding something, regarding a product, etc. So nowadays we don't use the semantic scale because now we are using computers. So we are using only the numerical scale. When numbers are given, it is called a numerical scale. When dots are given, it is called a semantic scale. So we don't use semantic differential scale. We use a numerical scale. Okay. How many scales you want? You can choose 5 or 7 or 9, 3. It's up to you. But in the Likert scale, we have no choice because it is given by a particular person. The scale is his copyright. So that 5 point, we cannot change the 5 point. It is given by him. Here it is our choice. We can choose any number. You can give any numbers. Okay. Some examples. It can be used for measuring the different qualities of a product, of a person. Two extremes are helpful, unhelpful, friendly, unfriendly, harmonious, quarrelsome, cheerful, gloomy. So for a person, supposing you are understanding your superior, you are studying about your superior, response regarding your superior, you can use these extremes and you can use either a 5-point scale or a 7-point scale. So this is a very useful scale, very simple scale. Okay. Now we are coming to the next scale, which is called itemized rating scale. See, in the previous scale, supposing you are using a 7-point scale, what does this 7 mean? Or what does this 5 mean? What does this 2 mean? We do not know. We have an idea. Yes, but we do not exactly know what the 6 or 5 or 4 mean. We have an idea. 7 means fully satisfied. 6 means not so fully satisfied. A little less satisfaction for 5, and so on. But we do not exactly know or represent what these numbers are representing. So this defect is corrected in the next scale, which is called an itemized rating scale. It may be a 5-point scale or a 7-point scale with anchors. Anchors means descriptions for each number. So each number is clearly defined. 1, very dissatisfied. 2, dissatisfied. 3, neither satisfied nor dissatisfied. 4, satisfied. 5, very satisfied. So now there is no doubt. You know very clearly what each number means. So this is a modification or upgrading of the previous scale, which is a numerical scale that is now made better by using an itemized rating scale with the description for each number. Otherwise, both are the same. It can be used for different purposes, for measuring different things. But then comes the question, a very important question. You can have, because I said you can choose the numbers, the points, 5, 7, 3, 6, 8. So you can have two types of scales. You can have a balanced scale with a neutral point, central point. A 5-point scale has a central point, neither satisfied nor dissatisfied. 7-point scale will have again a middle point. That is a balanced scale. Or you can have an unbalanced scale without a neutral point. A 4-point scale is given as an example. 4-point scale. It's an unbalanced scale, even numbers. You can have a 4-point scale, 8-point scale, 6-point scale. So those will be unbalanced scale. There's no neutral point. 1 is not at all satisfied. 2 means somewhat satisfied. 3 means moderately satisfied. 4 means very much satisfied. So there's no neutral point. So you can have two types of scales. It is all your choice, the researcher's choice. You can have a 5-point or 7-point. You can have a balanced scale or unbalanced scale without a neutral point. Now the question comes, which is better? Is the balanced scale better or is the unbalanced scale better? Very important question. Let me give you the advantages of the two scales. An unbalanced scale has no neutral point. If you have a balanced scale, look at the first one, 5-point scale. Supposing a person is confused, he does not know whether he is really satisfied or dissatisfied, then he will choose the third option, neither satisfied nor dissatisfied. So actually it is an escape. He's not thinking and deciding whether he is really satisfied or dissatisfied. Instead of thinking and deciding whether he is satisfied or dissatisfied, he will choose the easy option of saying neither satisfied nor dissatisfied. Actually, there is no position like that. You should be either satisfied or dissatisfied. There is no position like neither satisfied nor dissatisfied. That's an escape route. So he may take that, and therefore we are not getting the real true answer. What is his real attitude? He himself does not know. The respondent himself does not know what is true. He is not bothered. He doesn't bother to think and find his real attitude, whether it is satisfaction or dissatisfaction. How much is it? So he is giving an easy answer. So the data that we are getting is actually not the true data. That is the disadvantage of the balanced scale. In the unbalanced scale, you cannot do that because you have to decide whether you are not at all satisfied or somewhat satisfied or moderately satisfied or very much satisfied. So he has to think and decide and give the correct answer. So in that respect, the unbalanced scale is better. Now, we are going to do data analysis. in doing data analysis, we are using statistical tools. So in the case of the application of statistical tools, there is an assumption that your data is normally distributed. So a normally distributed data implies that there is a middle point. There's a middle point. So this unbalanced scale, the data may not be normally distributed because there's no central point. You know the graph, the bell-shaped graph, A normal distribution will have a bell-shaped graph with a central point. So here there's no central point. So the unbalanced scale the statistic does not satisfy the statistical assumptions of analysis. So when you are doing an analysis using statistical tools, one of the assumptions is that the data is normally distributed. So data collected with this unbalanced scale may not be normally distributed. So when you are doing your analysis, it may create a problem, but the analyst would prefer a balanced data. But now there is no problem because now we are used to using what is called non-parametric tests are available. Parametric tests require a balanced distribution, but non-parametric tests can be used even when the data are not normally distributed. So both this can be used. It is up to the researcher. He has to decide which one he wants, and depending upon the type of problem that he's studying, which is the relevant scale in that particular problem that he's studying, he can choose the scale accordingly. Okay, so how do you rate the following product features? How do you rate the following product features? Use the following 5-point scale for rating. It's an itemized rating scale. It's not a Likert scale. It is an itemized rating scale. It's not a numerical scale. Numerical scale will not give the extra description. This is an itemized rating scale. So this is an example of an itemized rating scale. Quality, you can give 4 or 3 or 2. Availability, you can give pricing, promotion, etc. Okay. Now let me ask you a question. We started with an example of physical infrastructure of cities. Remember? Physical infrastructure of cities. There was a scale. Very good, good, average, poor, very poor. Okay. So that questionnaire regarding physical infrastructure used a scale. Which scale is it? Is it a Likert scale or numerical scale or itemized rating scale? Unmute your audio and tell me.
Itemized.
Itemized. Anybody else? Anybody else? Do you agree with the answer? One of you? You are having doubt? The answer given was it is itemized. Do you agree? Other participants? Okay, unmute your audio and say. It's very clear there. Yes?
Itemized, sir. Itemized.
Itemized. Because it was mentioned there. Very good. 5. Good. 4. Average 3. So it's just like this one. So the first scale, we started with an example. In that, the scale used there is not Likert scale. It is not numerical scale. It is itemized rating scale. So what I'm trying to say is that, different questionnaires will use different scales. That is, I'm just mentioning that. Okay, so now we move to another scale, which is called fixed or constant sum scale. Fixed or constant, both are the same. Constant sum scale. So there is a scale which has a fixed value. Like, for example, respondents are asked to distribute a given number of points, say 50 or 80 or 100, across various items to measure the importance of each item. Supposing, for example, features of a product. There are price, quality, attractiveness, life after sale service. The features in a marketing study, the features of a product are price is there, quality is there, attractiveness, life, and after sale service. So normally, the question is which is important? Which is important? We want to find out, we want to get the information regarding which is important for the consumer, which the consumer thinks is important. What is the order of importance? So the usual method we use is we ask them to rank this. If price is very important, they'll give first rank. If quality is next important, they'll give second rank. If life is the third most important, they'll give the third rank, etc. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that method is not very accurate because sometimes the price and quality may be equally important. Price and quality may be equally important. So you cannot give first rank to both of them. So we will not get the correct data. We are not getting the true data, the correct data. If you are asking them to rank this, you will not get the correct data. Some people may find attractiveness and price equally important. So they want to give equal marks to both. So in ranking method, you can't do that. So ranking will not give us the true data. Here, you can get the true data. Supposing you say 50 marks are given and you are asking them, you distribute the 50 marks according to the importance. Supposing price and quality are equally important, a person can give 20 marks for price, 20 score for price, 20 score for quality. Both are equally important. Supposing you find that life is not at all important for you. Supposing you think that for after sales service, you don't think that after sales service is important. You don't give any marks, 0, you give 0. You are not giving any marks for that. So the 50 you can, so supposing you think all the 5 are equally important, you can give 10. So there's a lot of flexibility here. And you will get the correct true data. You will get the true data. So a person may give, according to the importance, he will distribute the 50 marks which is given. Respondents are asked to distribute a given number of points across the various items. So he can correctly distribute as he thinks is important. He is not forced to give first rank and second rank and third rank. He has a choice. 50 marks are there. He can give it as he likes according to the importance that he feels. So this is called, remember the scale, fixed or constant sum scale. So we studied Likert scale, numerical scale, itemized rating scale. Now we have studied fixed or constant sum scale. All of them are important to be used in different situations. Now we have another scale, very interesting scale, which is called a staple scale. It is given by a person called Staple. That's why it is the name of the person, Staple scale. So here, it's a numerical scale ranging from +3 to -3. +3 to -3. Normally we don't have minus figures there. So the scale points will be +3, +3, +2, +1, 0, -1, -2.
കളർ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ അരരാന കളർ കണ്ടിട്ടില്ലേ മോളി ബ്രൗണ്.
Okay, the scale points, I repeat, +3, +2, +1, 0, -1, -2, -3. These are scale points. So actually it's a 7-point scale. It's a 7-point scale, but the numbers are given from +3 to -3. This is useful in measuring the intensity and direction of the response. Is it negative? Is the response negative? What is the intensity? So to measure the intensity and the direction of the response, we can use the scale. For example, supposing the classroom management skill of a teacher can be measured on such a scale, or the relation between superior and subordinates can be measured on the scale. Supposing what is the relation between superior and subordinate? You are asking a subordinate or employee to rate his relation with the superior on a staple scale. So if he does not like the superior at all and he hates the superior, there's an emotional intensity is involved there. So this is mostly used where an emotional intensity is involved. So this subordinate does not like the superior at all. So he is emotionally having hatred towards the superior. He will give -3. So that negative response is given with full intensity, emotional intensity is expressed by him by giving -3. So it's an opportunity for the respondent to express his negative feelings by giving minus signs. If he is very much attracted, supposing he likes the superior, he very much likes the superior, then he will give positive numbers, +2 or +3. So that is the purpose. But before analysis, we will convert it into a 7-point scale. Supposing a person has given +3, that will be converted into 7. If he has given -3, it will be converted into 1. If he has given +2, that will be converted into 6. +3 will be converted into 5, etc. So analysis will be done with a 7-point scale. The respondent will give his views using a staple scale to express his intensity, but the analyst will convert the scale into a 7-point scale and do the analysis, because we can't use 0. I told you earlier, we cannot use 0 in our calculations. We don't use 0 in our calculator. So it is converted into a 7-point scale and we do the analysis. Okay, so this is a very interesting scale. If you want, you can use it. Example. Evaluate the performance of your teacher on the following parameters. Use a staple scale. Staple scale. +3 to -3. It can be +2 to -2. It can be +4 to -2. It's up to you, the respondent. Ability to make students understand difficult concepts. Supposing a teacher is able to make the students understand difficult concepts, he will be given +3. If he is not able to do that, he will be given -1 or -2. Sometimes if the students do not understand at all, they may give -3. So that is the purpose. Preparation for classes, creating and sustaining interest in the topic, willingness to clarify doubt. Supposing a teacher does not clarify doubts at all, the students may give -3 there, showing his or her negative attitude towards this aspect of the teacher's performance. Okay, next scale. So, next scale, graphic rating scale. Graphic rating scale. Again, a very simple scale. The respondents are asked to indicate their response as a point on a scale 1 to 10. A graphic rating scale is 1 to 10. You are asked to give a response based on that. If your response is very low, it will be 1. If it is the maximum, it will be 10. Example, different features of a product may be rated on a scale of 10. So different features of a product like price, quality, etc. may be rated on a scale of 10. So if the price of a product is very reasonable, you may give 8. If the quality is extremely good, you may give 10. If the after sales service is very poor, you may give 1. So depending upon your attitude towards the different features of a product, you will give a value between 1 to 10. So, and if you want to compare two products, say 2 mobiles, supposing you want to compare the mobiles of 2 companies, this can be used. Supposing in one case, the price or quality, one mobile may get 8, the second mobile may get only 2, which indicates that the second mobile is not at all good. According to the perception of the consumers, it is not at all good because it is getting only a 2 out of 10 for quality. So very useful for, that is what it can be used for comparing 2 products. The main purpose is to compare 2 or 3 different products. This graphic, that is a rating scale, graphic rating scale. Example, evaluate your class participation. Supposing you are a student and your class participation on a scale of 10. Attentiveness in the class, if you are very attentive, you may give 10. If you are least attentive, you may give 1. Participation in discussions, if you are participating, you may give 8. If you are not participating, you may give 1 or 2, and so on. So different students can be compared based on the score here. So student 1, student 2. Look at participation in discussion. One student may get 2, another student may get 8. So a comparison is possible about the different aspects of his behavior, the scale can be used. Okay, so we have seen now different, let us recall the different scales that we studied. We started with the Likert scale, very useful scale, very commonly used, 5-point scale. Then we have a numerical scale. You can choose the scale, any points you can choose. Then it is improved by itemized rating scale by giving descriptions for each number. So you can have an itemized rating scale, or you can have a fixed or constant sum scale, where instead of ranking, you can use a fixed or constant sum scale. You can give 50 points and ask them to distribute it among the different choices. Then we have a very interesting scale which is called staple scale, which involves minus signs in the response. So you can show your emotional intensity by using the minus figures. Then we have graphic rating scale. It's a simple scale, 1 to 10 scale, graphic rating there. So as I said before, don't use the scales for the sake of using these scales. If it is relevant for your study, if you think that it is useful in your particular situation, then you can use that scale. Otherwise, just don't use it. But Likert scale, everybody will be using, because we have many constructs and items where agreement to the statements will be required. Now, the ranking scale, you are familiar with the ranking scale. I don't have to spend much time there. You used to tap the preferences among different items. So we are tapping the preferences among the different items. Usually 3 methods are used. One is the normal forced choice method. Respondents are asked to rank all the items in the order of preference. Supposing there are 5 items, you have to choose rank all the 5 items as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are assuming that the difference between the ranks are equal. It is a forced choice method. This is the commonly used method, but it is not a good method, but in some cases we use it. Okay. Second is a paired comparison method. Respondents are asked to choose between pairs of given items, one after the other. Supposing you have different items are given, and you are converting those into different pairs. 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4. Which one will you choose? Will you choose 1 and 2, or 1 and 3, or 1 and 4, or 1 and 5? That's a paired comparison method. It's not commonly used. The first one is commonly used. Or you can comparative scale. Respondents are asked to compare the items to a benchmark. You are given some items and you are asked to compare it with the benchmark and say whether it is more useful, about the same, less useful. So actually the first one is the commonly used one. We are asking the respondents to rank all the items in order of preference or importance or choice, etc. Okay, that we know, so I'm not going to spend. Measurement scales, the benefits of using measurement scales are the information is converted into a number. The information is quantified so that you can do analysis. For analysis, we require numbers. Further analysis then becomes possible because you have numbers. You can do all types of analysis there. And meaningful inferences can be drawn through statistical analysis. For statistical analysis, we require data. So for data analysis, we require numbers. For numbers, we use measurement scales because then the information is converted into a number. Hypothesis testing becomes possible through statistical inference. For all that, we require numbers, and the numbers are obtained through measurement scales. There are different measurement scales. You can use the measurement scale appropriate for your questionnaire. And again, another question sometimes students ask is, can we use different scales in the same questionnaire? A common doubt is whether we can use different scales. We have seen 5, 6 scales. Can we use different scales in the same questionnaire? Yes, definitely you can use. See, in one question, you can have Likert scale. Another question, you can have graphic rating scale. In another scale, you can have staple scale. So different scales can definitely be used in the same questionnaire. No doubt about that. Now we come to the question of configuration. The 4 dimensions I mentioned in the beginning, 4 dimensions of the questionnaire: context, content, configuration, and quality. We were dealing with the content of the questionnaire, what we are going to ask. Now we are going to see how to ask the question. We have seen one method, the construct and items method we have already seen. Construct and items is one method of asking for information. Another configuration, another aspect is called configuration. So here, the basic principle is that information is multi-dimensional. The information that a person has different dimensions. The job satisfaction. We have seen job satisfaction. It has got many dimensions, elements, so many things. So always information is multi-dimensional. There are many dimensions to the information. So the question should be configured to collect the maximum complete information. So we want to collect the maximum information, not just a part of the information. So that is the importance of configuration. So that is why I asked you to prepare a table with the concept, dimensions, elements. Then only start preparing the questionnaire, because the questionnaire is based on the elements. So we should list out all the elements and then prepare the questionnaire. Only then you will get the maximum or complete information, and different types of questions can be asked. Example, supposing we want to know about the computer knowledge and skill of a respondent. A simple example I am giving. You want to find out the computer knowledge and skill of the respondents. So this is a variable. Actually, it is only a concept. This computer knowledge has many dimensions. The computer skill has many dimensions, because you are using many different types of programs, many different types of applications. So we should not ask a question on the concept. We should ask question on the elements. We have seen that. We should divide it into dimensions and elements and ask question on the elements. So we do not or should not ask a question, do you have computer knowledge or skill? Yes or no? That is not the question to be asked, because it is meaningless. We want to get full information about all the dimensions of the computer knowledge and skill of the person. Because this information is incomplete naturally. It is not useful. Because here we assume that computer was assumed to be unidimensional. We are assuming that computer knowledge is only one dimension. No, it is multi-dimensional. There are many dimensions to computer knowledge, and knowledge itself is not just one dimension or two dimension. You may have knowledge or not knowledge. The knowledge can be preliminary knowledge, expert knowledge, professional knowledge. So the knowledge itself has many dimensions. So both the computer and knowledge are multi-dimensional. Therefore, questionnaire should be prepared only after listing out all the dimensions of both the computer and the skill relating to computer. Then we should ask questions. Computer has different programs, uses, Word, Excel, other softwares, SPSS. So all these are the different programs. So we should list out all those. So we should ask questions on each of them. The skill itself, again, the knowledge can be, knowledge may be of different levels. Nil, minimal, amateur, expert, professional, etc. So after having listed out all these things only, we should start preparing the questionnaire. That is what is meant by the configuration. Okay, usually when we have a long workshop, I ask them to prepare a questionnaire on the study habits and methods of college students. This is something which college students can do. Study habits, two things, habits and methods. What are your study habits? What are the methods of study of college students? So these are the broad concepts. So these have to be divided into dimensions, then elements, then question has to be prepared on that. So this exercise, offline classes, we do the exercise, and I will show you the result so that you get an idea. Well, let me see what is the time. Okay, right. I'll show you the, see, we need to list out the dimensions and elements of the study habits and study methods. Two things we are studying. Study habits, what are the dimensions of study habits? What are the elements of study habits? And similarly, what are the dimensions of study methods and what are the elements of study methods? A measurement scale also. Which is the measurement scale to be used there? Well, so this is the exercise that we have to do. Let us look at this so that you can understand it. Study habits we are taking first, dimensions and elements there. So look at the first one, dimension, first column. Dimension. Study habits, we are dealing with study habits. So part of the habit is the time of study is a matter of habit. Time of the study, that is the dimension. Okay, dimension. Let us understand it. It takes some time, let us understand it. It's an example so that when in your study, when you are doing your questionnaire, you can prepare a similar table and then proceed. So time of the study, it's a dimension. The elements are early morning, evening, night, late night. Okay. So here again, we are not asking them to tick any one of them. That's a mistake. Because a person may use early morning and also night. So ticking will not give you the correct answer. So we have to use a measurement scale. We want numbers. Look at the measurement scale. It's an itemized rating scale. We have already studied what is meant by an itemized rating scale. It's a scale with the description for each number. So 1 means never, 2 means rarely, 3 means sometimes, 4 means often, 5 means always. Supposing a person gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning and studies always. So then for early morning, for each of this he will give a number. For early morning he will give 5. Okay. He never studies late night. Late night means after 10. He is not using that time slot for study. He will give 1 there. Okay. Night, sometimes he studies at night. Then he will give 3. See, because all these time slots will be used by the same person at some time or the other. Some of these time slots he will use always. Some of the time slots he may never use it. Some of the time slots he may use often. So depending upon that, he will give numbers. So we are getting numbers and we are getting the true data, the correct data, full data, complete data. Ticking is just ticking one of them, it doesn't mean anything. Supposing you ask the person to tick the appropriate answer, he will tick somewhere and it does not give us any number. It does not give us the true data. But this, if you use the measurement scale, you will get the correct data. And we will get numbers also. So we are converting the information into numbers for further analysis. Understood? Now look at the second dimension. So habit, we are studying about study habits. The duration. That is, once you are sitting down to study, what is the duration? Less than 30 minutes. Elements. The elements are less than 30 minutes, 30 to 60 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes, more than 90 minutes. So these are the different elements. Again, don't ask them to tick any one of them because we may use all these types of durations. So more than 90 minutes, maybe never. So you can put 1 there. 30 to 60 minutes may be the most commonly used. So you can say 4 often. Less than 30 minutes, sometimes. So 3, and so on. So you can understand now what is meant by. Similarly, next dimension. The place used or preferred for study. Is it the study room in your home, study room or someplace in the home, or library, or outdoors, if you're sitting somewhere outdoors and studying, or friend's home? So these are the different elements. So dimensions and elements and the measurement scale. So this table is important. You have a concept, study habits, you have different dimensions, you have different elements, and you have to use a measurement scale to convert them into quantitative data. So this is the, see the last one, the dimension, I just mentioned the last one, the last dimension. Perception regarding effective study habits. So this student will have some perception towards which is the effective study habits. Okay, so this is a hidden variable. The others are not hidden variables. The first 1, 2, 3, 4, four dimensions are not hidden. The fifth dimension is a hidden dimension, latent variable. We have to use a construct and items here. It is a construct. The perception regarding the effective study habits is a construct. So we have to use items, which means statements regarding study habits. So give statements regarding different study habits. Statements regarding study habits, those are the items, and we use a Likert scale there. Likert scale, agreement scale. So that the person will be asked to agree with this different study habits, so that we can. So you remember attitude towards e-learning. We started with one example of attitude towards e-learning. So similarly, attitude towards or perception regarding effective study habits. Which are the effective study habits? So we can give different statements and ask the candidate to agree with the statements and find out what is his perception regarding what he thinks is the effective study habits. So because it is a hidden variable, we have to use the construct and items method to find out information, data. The scale is Likert scale. Okay, so this is this type of an exercise. If you can do before preparing your questionnaire, you will be able to prepare a good questionnaire, a correct questionnaire. So this is the study methods. Just look at the dimensions. Class participation, study method, library use, group study, preparation of study notes. So these are the study methods. Again, perception regarding effective study methods. Last dimension is perception regarding study methods, which is a construct, hidden. So we have to prepare items and use the Likert scale. This is the study constraints. Another concept is study constraints. Again, we have dimensions, elements, measurement scale. Look at the first dimension, non-availability of resources. Non-availability of resources. So for study, you require some resources. So one constraint may be the non-availability of resource. The elements are space for study. Supposing you don't have space for study, you don't have a peaceful atmosphere, or you don't have free time, you are working part-time, so you don't have free time. Possession of textbooks, you don't have enough textbooks with you. So measurement scale is the graphic rating scale. Remember the graphic rating scale, 1 to 10. Based on the importance, you give 1 to 10. If space for study is not a very important challenge or constraint, then you give only 1. Supposing free time, you don't have free time, then you may give 8 there. Okay, so this is the. Now we come to the last dimension of the questionnaire, the quality of the questionnaire. Quality of the question. How good is your questionnaire? 2 things you have to study, 2 criteria for determining or testing the goodness of the tool or measure, reliability and validity. Reliability and validity. Reliability means the accuracy in measurement. We are measuring some things. So is it accurate? The accuracy in the measurement. Are we measuring rightly? Are we measuring correctly? That is reliability. Validity means, are we measuring the right thing? Are we measuring the right thing? Are we measuring job satisfaction or are we measuring something else? Are we measuring risk or are we measuring we are supposed to measure risk, but are we measuring risk or are we measuring something else? So these are the two things. One, are we measuring correctly? Our measurement scale, is it correct? Secondly, are we measuring the right things? Are those statements correct? Supposing you are measuring job satisfaction using different statements, constructed items. So are those statements correctly dealing with job satisfaction or perceived risk? So that is the second question, validity. Are we measuring the right things? Are we giving the correct statements regarding the topic that we want to measure? That is validity. First is about the scale, accuracy in measurement. Are we using the correct scale? Because we have got different scales. Are we using the correct scale? So the two aspects are, one regarding the scale, the second regarding the items used in the scale. Okay. How do you test reliability? Reliability. Reliability means stability and consistency. Reliability means stability and consistency. That means every time, supposing you have a weighing machine in your house, if this weighing machine in your house is reliable, it should be stable and consistent. You are looking your weight at 8 o'clock in the morning, there is a weight is given, 60 kilogram. After 1 hour you are measuring again. After 1 hour it should be more or less the same. See, so that is stable and consistent. So if your weighing machine is correct, then that should give the same result when we are repeatedly measuring. Stability, the property that ensures the same result on different occasions. Weighing machine. So stability means that the same result is obtained on different occasions. Then we can say, okay, this questionnaire is giving the same result, this weighing machine is giving the same result, this questionnaire is also giving the same result. How do you test that? The method of testing stability is, you give a questionnaire to a group of people, then conduct a retest after some time, after 1 month. So you give a questionnaire now, after 1 month you give the same questionnaire again to the same group, see the answers. If the answers are more or less the same, then your questionnaire is good, just like the weighing machine. So that is a test and retest. So as part of your pilot study, you can do that. As part of your pilot study, you can give test after 1 month, the same test, same questionnaire can be given, see whether the results are the same. Then you can say, okay, your questionnaire is stable, which is part of reliability. Or there's a parallel form. You can give a questionnaire to a group and you can give the same questionnaire to a similar group. Exactly similar group, parallel. Parallelly, at the same time, you can give the questionnaire to two different groups. If they are giving the same result, then okay, your questionnaire is stable and it is reliable. Second aspect is internal consistency. Internal consistency. Two properties of reliability are stability and internal consistency. That is homogeneity of the items in the measure. In the constructed items, whether the items, supposing there are 5 statements, whether the 5 statements are relating to the same thing. That is homogeneity of the items in the measure. Whether your statements or the items in the construct are relating to the same thing. Whether they are relating to your topic, that is the next validity. Whether the statements are relating to, whether the 5 statements are relating to the same thing, that is called internal consistency. Whether these statements are relating to your topic of study, that is validity. That only an expert can testify. This internal consistency can be tested with a statistical measure called Cronbach's alpha. So in the software, the software will give you a figure called Cronbach's alpha. That is the method of testing consistency. If the result will be varying between 0 to 1. The answer will be between 0 to 1. Higher the value, higher the consistency. So using Cronbach's alpha, you can test the internal consistency of your questionnaire. If the result is closer to 1, then you say your questionnaire has internal consistency. Your constructant, for each constructant items, the Cronbach's alpha can be calculated, and you can find out whether the items are relating to the same subject. Whether the subject is your topic of study is validity, which will be tested by an expert. So we are looking at validity now. Whether a questionnaire actually measures what you are supposed to measure. You are supposed to study job satisfaction, but the constructant items, are they really measuring job satisfaction? So that there are two dimensions to validity. One is the content validity. The content of the questionnaire is related to your subject of study. It is content validity. Ensures that an adequate set of items that measures the concept are included in the concept. So whether all the dimensions and elements are listed out and all of them are included in the questionnaire, then your content of the questionnaire is relating to all the aspects of your study. So that is why I said you should prepare a table showing the contents, the concept, dimensions, elements. So if that table is ready and you prepare your questionnaire based on the table, all the items required for your study will be included there. So we can say content validity is there. See, all the dimension, all the elements of a concept are included. For that, we should have a table with all the dimensions and elements. A panel of judges or experts can attest to the content validity of the instrument. There are no statistical methods. You should give to a panel of experts who are experts in that particular subject. They will read and say, okay, your questionnaire is containing all the different dimensions and elements of the your subject. So only they can verify. They can say whether your study includes, your questionnaire includes all what is required to be included. Second aspect is construct validity refers to the structure of the questionnaire, whether the structure of the questionnaire is correct. The way you have prepared the questionnaire, configuration, remember the configuration. Construct validity relate to the structure of the questionnaire, whether the questionnaire is easy to understand, whether it is in logical order. Pilot study. When you are doing the pilot study, you can find out whether the respondents are able to read and understand and give the answer easily without much difficulty. Then the construct validity is there. So these are the different aspects. Okay. Now, after preparing the questionnaire, we have to see whether the questionnaire is comprehensive. Comprehensive. What does that mean? The questionnaire is used to collect primary data for a study. Remember, we have a study. It may be a project or it may be a PhD work. So a questionnaire is used to collect primary data for study. So there is a purpose. And this study has objectives. Usually we will say 2 or 3 objectives will be set. In the study we will say objective 1, objective 2, objective 3. Now your questionnaire, does this questionnaire contain sufficient number of questions related to each objective? That is the important point. Does your questionnaire contain sufficient number of questions related to each objective? For each objective, there should be sufficient number of questions to collect the data relating to that objective. Then, if your questionnaire contains sufficient number of questions for each objective, we say your questionnaire is comprehensive. Comprehensive. For that, we do what is called a mapping of the questions to the objectives. Each question, to which objective does it refer? That is called mapping of the questions. Take each question, say to which objective does it refer. So we have to prepare a mapping table. This will help us to test whether the questionnaire is comprehensive. I'll show you an example. Look here. Supposing there are 5 objectives. So we are preparing a mapping of questions to the objectives 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. What are the questions relating to objective 1 in your questionnaire? Question numbers. So we have to write down the question numbers. So here we have to write down the question numbers. Objective 1, question numbers 3, 4, 6. Objective 2, question numbers 1, 5, 7. Objective 3, maybe question number 10 and 11 and so on. So when you prepare this table, you know that whether enough number of questions are there for each objective. If sufficient number of questions are there for each objective, we say your questionnaire is comprehensive. Okay, so I think I will just give you the title of my book on research methodology so that you can refer to this book. Research Methodology by Ann Books Private Limited, New Delhi. It was published in 2019. It's available because then the COVID came, so they were not able to distribute it to all the booksellers in India. But it is available online. You can buy it from Amazon or from the publishers themselves. They have online sale. Amazon you can buy. It's written in a simple way so that you can understand it. So thank you. It's a lengthy session. I think it was a long session, very lengthy session. I don't know how far you were able to follow me. Okay, I'll stop the. Yes. So
Thank you, sir.
you can ask questions.
ശരി, പാരാമെട്രിക് സ്കെയിലും നോൺ പാരാമെട്രിക്കും പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നല്ലോ, ഈ അൺബാലൻസ്ഡ് ബാലൻസ്ഡ് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ അതെങ്ങനെയാണ്?
Usually, after collecting data using the questionnaire, what we do is we test whether the data that we have collected is normally distributed. And there are different tests for that. 2 or 3 different tests are there. So using those statistical tests, we find out whether the data are normally distributed. And if the data are normally distributed, we can apply parametric tests. Because parametric tests are the good tests, statistical tests. We prefer to use parametric tests. So, but before that, we have to find out whether the data are distributed normally. So, after testing, if you find that your data is normally distributed, you can use parametric tests. But supposing you find that your data are not normally distributed, then you have to use non-parametric tests. When you are using unbalanced scale, if you are using in your questionnaire unbalanced scale, sometimes you may find that when you are testing for normality, the data may not be normally distributed sometimes. And if you find that they are not normally distributed, don't worry, you apply non-parametric tests. Now both are equally used. That is the.
Sir, but in one questionnaire we will have different scales, and for one question we have an unbalanced scale. Then how it can be measured?
No, you are testing the whole data using those tests of normality. If you find that the whole data is normally distributed, you can go for parametric tests. If the whole data is not normally distributed, because the normality is tested for the entire data. So you can, or if you want, you can test separately also. Each constructed items you can test separately, whether it is normally distributed or normally distributed. And if you are finding that it is not normally distributed, for that particular questionnaire question, you can use non-parametric tests.
Okay.
The statistician will help you in that.
Okay.
Because usually they will say, look and say it is not they will say that okay, this is not normally distributed, so we cannot use parameter. They will say, but we should also know definitely. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
Hi, sir.
Yes.
So you've already told regarding adapting constructs from existing studies, right?
Right.
So for a PhD work, if we create our own items, we will do a CFA. So do you prefer adapting the existing constructs and using the items only within those constructs, or creating our own items and do a CFA?
See, if you use an already used construct and items, the advantage is that they have been tested and used in studies, so they are already validated. Those constructs and items are already validated, so we can use them giving citations. But if we are using our own constructs and items, then it is not validated. So through our study, we are trying to validate it. So our testing, normality, other testing, everything has to be done and validated. So both are fine. Your study sometimes may not have validated constructs and items from previous studies. Then we will be forced to create our own construct and item. If our study has already validated construct and items, you can use them. There is no harm in it. Only you have to give proper citations. Both are okay, no problem. Constructing your own items, we learn more things. It's a learning process for you.
Like, say, it has to be linked to a proper theory, right? So,
yeah, definitely, it has to be linked to the theory.
So, how to extend an existing theory, like by adding more constructs?
Oh, that comes from study and experience. that is a problem. So
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
We have to study the theory very well, repeatedly, and then only. But that is a learning for you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I think most of you, I think all of you have understood. Only thing it was a very long, lengthy session. I will share the presentation slides to the organizers so that those who want can get it from them and use it. Any further questions? Yes.
If there is no further questions, we will move on to the valedictory section.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. A
Okay.
well-known person who barely need an introduction. Yes, it's the principal, Dr. Stephen Matthew, who is committed to ensure the holistic development of staff and students. I invite Dr. Stephen Matthew for the valedictory speech.
Linda, I think Stephen sir is not able to join. Shall we move on to the next?
Okay. Now invite our beloved HOD, Dr. Disha George, for the valedictory message.
Somebody, I am in the line.
Okay, sir. Sir, okay, Stephen sir is here.
Yes. Can I speak?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Hello?
Sir, it's
കേൾക്കാം
audible.
സർ.
You can proceed.
കാണാം സാറിനെ കാണാം, പറഞ്ഞു.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Most respected, our resource person, Dr. S. Kevin, പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട റിസർച്ച് സ്കോളേഴ്സ്, ഏറെ സന്തോഷമുണ്ട് ഈ 3 ദിവസം നീണ്ടു നിന്ന റിസർച്ച് മെത്തഡോളജി വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പിൽ കെവിൻ സാറിന്റെ സെഷൻ തീരുമ്പോൾ സാറിനോടൊപ്പം ആ വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പിൽ ആയിരിക്കാം. എൻ്റെ കാരണം ഉഴവൂർ സെന്റ് സ്റ്റീഫൻസ് കോളേജിലെ കൊമേഴ്സ് ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റ് കഴിഞ്ഞ കാലങ്ങളിലായി നടത്തിയിട്ടുള്ള വിവിധ വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പുകളിൽ റിസർച്ച് മെത്തഡോളജിയുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് അതിലെ ഏറെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട കോളേജിനെയും റിസർച്ച് സ്കോളേഴ്സിനെയും അധ്യാപകരെയും ഒക്കെ ഏറെ സഹായിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട പണ്ഡിതനാണ് ഡോക്ടർ എസ് കെവിൻ. സാറിൻ്റെ ഒരു സാന്നിധ്യം ഈ റിസർച്ച് മെത്തഡോളജി വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പിനെ ഒത്തിരിയേറെ മഹത്തരമാക്കാൻ സഹായിച്ചു എന്ന് സൂചിപ്പിക്കാതെ വയ്യ. എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു ഇന്നലെയും മിനിഞ്ഞാന്നുമായി നടന്ന വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പുകളിൽ ഓഫ്ലൈനായി പങ്കെടുത്ത വിദ്യാർത്ഥികൾക്ക് അത് തിരിച്ചറിയാൻ കഴിയുന്നുണ്ട് എന്ന് ഞാൻ വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നു. ഇതിലെ സാന്നിധ്യം തന്നെ, പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസിന്റെ ആ എണ്ണത്തിന്റെ കൂടുതൽ തന്നെ സാറിന്റെ ആ പാണ്ഡിത്യത്തെ കൂടുതൽ വലുതാക്കാൻ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വലുതാണ് എന്ന് മറ്റുള്ളവർ മനസ്സിലാക്കുന്നതിലേക്ക് എത്തിച്ചേർന്നു എന്ന് വേണം നമ്മൾ വിശ്വസിക്കാൻ. ഏതാണേലും ഞാൻ ഈ വൈകിയ വേളയിൽ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ 12:30 സെഷൻ തീർന്ന്, എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു ഞാൻ തുടക്കത്തിലെ സൂചിപ്പിക്കാനിരുന്ന ഒരു കാര്യമാണ്, ഞാൻ ഇതിൽ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ 70 പേര് 78 പേരോളം പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നതിൽ ഇപ്പോൾ അത് 5 പേര് കുറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നു എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ അത് എത്രയും പെട്ടെന്ന് വൈൻഡപ്പ് ചെയ്ത് 2-2.5 മണിക്കൂറോളമായി ഈ ഗൂഗിൾ മീറ്റിൽ ഇരിക്കുന്നവരെ സംബന്ധിച്ച്, നിങ്ങളെ സംബന്ധിച്ചും എത്രയും പെട്ടെന്ന് ഈ സെഷൻ അവസാനിക്കുന്നതാണ്. കാരണം ഇതിന്റെ ഡിസ്കഷൻസും ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആൻസേഴ്സും ഒക്കെ കഴിഞ്ഞ സ്ഥിതിക്ക് അതാണ് നല്ലത് എന്ന് ഞാൻ വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നു. എങ്കിൽ പോലും ഞാൻ ഇന്നലെ നമ്മുടെ സ്കോളേഴ്സുമായി ഇന്ററാക്ട് ചെയ്യാനിടയായപ്പോൾ സൂചിപ്പിച്ച ഒരു കാര്യം കൂടി, ഞാൻ ആ കാര്യം ഒന്നുകൂടി ഇവിടെ ഉറപ്പിക്കാനായിട്ട് ഞാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുകയാണ്. റിസർച്ച് എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ അറിവ് കണ്ടെത്താൻ വേണ്ടിയുള്ള ഒരു തിരയൽ എങ്കിലും, അതല്ലെങ്കിൽ റീസെർച്ച് വേണം, പുനരന്വേഷണം ആകാം എങ്കിലും, അതിലേക്കൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ ഇറങ്ങുമ്പോൾ ഇപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾ 1-2 പേരെങ്കിലും ചോദിച്ച ചോദ്യങ്ങളിൽ കെവിൻ സാർ പറഞ്ഞ ആൻസറിലൂടെ തന്നെ ഞാൻ പോകുമ്പോൾ യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ നമ്മൾ ഈ അറിവിലേക്കുള്ള അന്വേഷണം ആരംഭിച്ചപ്പോഴാണ് നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ച പല കാര്യങ്ങളിലേക്കും നമുക്ക് ഒന്ന് തിരിഞ്ഞു നോക്കേണ്ടി വരിക. നമ്മൾ UG പഠിക്കുമ്പോഴും PG പഠിക്കുമ്പോഴും ഒക്കെ നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന ക്വാണ്ടിറ്റേറ്റീവ് ടെക്നിക്സുകളെയോ അതല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ പറയുന്ന റിസർച്ച് മെത്തഡോളജികളെയൊക്കെ റിസർച്ചിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ മൂവ് ചെയ്തപ്പോഴാണ് നമുക്ക് വീണ്ടും ഒന്ന് തിരിഞ്ഞു നോക്കേണ്ടുന്ന സാഹചര്യം നിങ്ങൾക്കൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടായത്. വരാനിരിക്കുന്ന നാഷണൽ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ പോളിസിയിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതിന്റെ ഭാഗമായി നമുക്കിവിടെ വരാനായിട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന 4-year ഡിഗ്രി പ്രോഗ്രാമിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ എത്തുമ്പോൾ അതിന്റെ 4ാമത്തെ വർഷം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇത്തരത്തിലുള്ള റിസർച്ച് ഓറിയന്റഡ് ആയിട്ട് മാറുമ്പോൾ ഇനി വരാനിരിക്കുന്ന ആളുകൾക്ക് UG പ്രോഗ്രാമും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ PG പ്രോഗ്രാമും കൂടുതൽ ഗുണകരമാവും എന്ന് നമുക്ക് വിശ്വസിക്കാം. അപ്പൊ അതിനു വേണ്ടുന്ന ഒരു ആർജവം എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നാം അറിവിന് വേണ്ടി നാം തെരച്ചിൽ ആരംഭിക്കുമ്പോൾ അത് നഷ്ടപ്പെടുത്താതെ കാത്തു സൂക്ഷിക്കാനും നമ്മൾ ആർജിച്ചെടുത്ത നമ്മളുടെ ആ വിശ്വാസത്തെ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, ഞാൻ എന്തായിത്തീരണം എന്നുള്ള എൻ്റെ ആഗ്രഹത്തെ പൂർണ്ണ മനസ്സോടെയും പൂർണ്ണ ആഗ്രഹത്തോടു കൂടി അതിൻ്റെ പൂർണ്ണതയിൽ ശ്രമിക്കുമ്പോൾ നിശ്ചിതമായിട്ടും അത് ലഭ്യമാക്കപ്പെടും എന്ന് ഞാൻ ഇന്നലെ സൂചിപ്പിച്ചിരുന്നു. അത് ഞാൻ ഇന്നൊന്നുകൂടി നിങ്ങളെ ഓർപ്പിക്കാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുകയാണ്. ഒരു കാരണവശാലും നമ്മളുടെ ആഗ്രഹം ഇത് പൂർത്തീകരിക്കാനുള്ള ആ നമ്മളുടെ തൃഷ്ണയുണ്ടല്ലോ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആ ത്വര എന്നൊക്കെ പറയാം, അതിനെയൊക്കെ ഒരിക്കലും നിങ്ങൾ നഷ്ടപ്പെടുത്താതെ അറ്റ് ദി ഏർലിയസ്റ്റ് നാം ഇറങ്ങിപ്പുറപ്പെട്ട കാര്യം നേടിയെടുക്കുന്നതിലേക്ക് ഉള്ള ആർജവം നിങ്ങൾക്കുണ്ടാകട്ടെ എന്ന് ഞാൻ ആശംസിക്കുന്നു. ഇത് പറയുവാനുള്ള ഒരു കാരണം കൂടിയുണ്ട്. ഇന്ന് രാവിലെ ഞാൻ പഠിപ്പിച്ച ഒരു വിദ്യാർത്ഥി വർഷങ്ങൾക്ക് ശേഷം, ഏതാണ്ട് 18 വർഷത്തിന് 16 വർഷമെങ്കിലും ആയിട്ടുണ്ടാവും, ശേഷം എന്നെ വിളിച്ചിന്ന് രാവിലെ അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് PSCയുടെ അഡ്വൈസ് മെമ്മോ ലഭിച്ചു എന്ന് എന്നെ വിളിച്ചു പറഞ്ഞു. അപ്പൊ അന്ന് കോളേജിൽ പഠിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നപ്പോൾ മറ്റു ജോലിയും ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരുന്ന സമയത്താണ് അദ്ദേഹം PhDക്ക് പോവുകയും PG പൂർത്തിയാക്കുകയും PhDക്ക് പോവുകയും ഒക്കെ ചെയ്തത്. എന്നിട്ട് ഇപ്പോഴും തനിക്കൊരു കോളേജ് അധ്യാപകനാകണം എന്നുള്ളൊരാഗ്രഹം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ടീച്ചറായി മാറണം എന്നുള്ളൊരാഗ്രഹം അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ ഉള്ളിൽ അദ്ദേഹം കാത്തു സൂക്ഷിച്ചു എന്നുള്ളത് കൊണ്ടാണ് ഇന്നലെ അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് അഡ്വൈസ് മെമ്മോ PSCയിൽ നിന്ന് ലഭിച്ചു എന്ന് പറയുക. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ ഇന്നലെ സൂചിപ്പിച്ച കാര്യം അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഒന്നുകൂടി സൂചിപ്പിച്ചത്. നിങ്ങളുടെ ആഗ്രഹം, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വലുതാവാനുള്ള, നിങ്ങൾക്കായി തീരാനുള്ള നിങ്ങളുടെ ആ തൃഷ്ണയെ ഒരിക്കലും നഷ്ടപ്പെടുത്താതെ അതിലേക്ക് നമുക്ക് മാറ്റുകൂട്ടുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടുന്ന നമ്മുടെ ഈ റിസർച്ച് പ്രോഗ്രാം എത്രയും പെട്ടെന്ന് പൂർത്തീകരിക്കപ്പെടാൻ ഈ വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പ് നിങ്ങൾക്കൊരു കാരണമായി മാറട്ടെ. കെവിൻ സാറിന്റെ പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട വാക്കുകൾ നിങ്ങളെ കൂടുതൽ ഉത്തേജിപ്പിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് നിങ്ങളുടെ റിസർച്ചിൽ അത് കൂടുതൽ നന്മകൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടി സഹായിക്കട്ടെ. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഈ വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പിനെ ഇത്ര മനോഹരമാക്കുന്നതിലേക്ക് നമ്മളോടൊപ്പം ആയിത്തീരാൻ മനസ്സ് കാണിച്ച ഡോക്ടർ S. കെവിൻ സാറിനെ, കാരണം സാറിനെ ഞാൻ തന്നെയാണ് ഒരു ദിവസം ഇവിടെ ഇരുന്ന് വിളിച്ചത്. അപ്പൊ സാറിന് ഞങ്ങളുടെയൊക്കെ ആഗ്രഹം സാർ എപ്പോഴും ഓഫ്ലൈനിൽ ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കുന്നതിനോടായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷെ സാറിന്റെ ഒരു സാഹചര്യം അതിനെ അനുവദിക്കുന്നില്ല എന്നുള്ളത് കൊണ്ടാണ് സാറ് ഓൺലൈനിലേക്ക് മാറിയത്. ഇതാണെങ്കിലും സാറിന്റെ സാന്നിധ്യം ഈ വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പിനെ ഏറ്റവും മഹത്തരമാക്കി എന്ന് പറയാതെ വയ്യ. അതിനുവേണ്ടി തയ്യാറായ കെവിൻ സാറിനെ ഏറ്റവും സ്നേഹത്തോടു കൂടി ഉഴവൂർ സെന്റ് സ്റ്റീഫൻസ് കോളേജിന്റെ പേരിൽ, അതുപോലെ ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റ് ഓഫ് കോമേഴ്സിന്റെ പേരിൽ, ഇവിടെ കൂടിയിരിക്കുന്ന ഇതിനോടൊപ്പം ചേർന്ന് നിൽക്കുന്ന എല്ലാ പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസിന്റെയും പേരിൽ ഏറ്റവും സ്നേഹത്തോടെ കോളേജിന്റെ പേരിലുള്ള നന്ദി അറിയിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് എല്ലാവിധ നന്മകളും ഉണ്ടാവട്ടെ. ഇനി വരാനിരിക്കുന്ന വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പുകളിലും സാറിന്റെ സാന്നിധ്യം ഈ കോളേജിന്, ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റിന് വലിയൊരു അനുഗ്രഹമായി മാറട്ടെ എന്ന് ആഗ്രഹിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ നിർത്തുകയാണ്. അതുപോലെ ഇവിടെ വന്നു ചേർന്ന, ഇതിനോടൊപ്പം ചേർന്ന് നിന്ന എല്ലാ പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസിനെയും, നിങ്ങളോടൊപ്പം ഉഴവൂർ കോളേജിന്റെ കോമേഴ്സ് ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റിന്റെ റിസർച്ച് സെന്റർ ഉണ്ട്, എക്കാലം ഉണ്ടാവും. അതിനുവേണ്ടി താല്പര്യത്തോടെ നിൽക്കുന്ന ഒരു പറ്റം അധ്യാപകരാണ് ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റ് ഓഫ് കോമേഴ്സിലുള്ളത്. അപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾക്കുണ്ടാകുന്ന ഏതാവശ്യത്തെയും കോളേജുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെടാനും ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെടാനും അവകാശമുണ്ട്. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ചേർന്ന് നിൽക്കാം. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടി റിസർച്ച് ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റ് ഓഫ് കോമേഴ്സ് സെന്റ് സ്റ്റീഫൻസ് കോളേജ് നിങ്ങളോടൊപ്പം ഉണ്ടാകും എന്ന് ഉറപ്പ് പറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ട് ഏറ്റവും സ്നേഹത്തോടെ ഞാൻ നിർത്തട്ടെ. പ്രത്യേകം നന്ദി കെവിൻ സാർ, ബാക്കി എല്ലാവർക്കും നന്ദി, നമസ്കാരം.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. Very, very generous, kind words. Thank you so much. As you said, I'm also not very happy with online class. I could not come to your college. I have come there earlier, you know that. So, but anyway, I think it was a informative session. So, thank you very much for your kind and generous words of thanks. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to call upon Ms. Sharon Siriak, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Devamata College, to share her experience.
Good morning to one and all present here, respected Kevin sir, Stephen sir, Yusha miss, and all the participants of today's webinar and the day workshop. So the duty given to me is to give an overall feedback of the workshop that was conducted during these 3 days. Before that, first of all, I would like to thank Professor S. Kevin, Emeritus Professor of University of Kerala, for taking the class in such a simple, clear and knowledgeable manner. I have heard different classes of Kevin sir, but in each class we get to learn something new. I feel repetition is very less and we get to learn new things which I have not learned before. So today's class also, there were many things that was taught in a very simple and clear manner. thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful class. And to give a feedback of the overall workshop, I know most of the participants have not experienced this, but still, it is my duty to give a feedback because the success of this workshop, I must say, is because of the selection of the resource persons. The selection of the resource person contributed so much to the success. I would say it is success itself because the resource persons, Dr. Anthony Joseph and Jasim sir, the librarian of St. Stephens, they took the class in. It was extremely resourceful, extremely insightful, and yesterday everyone gave the feedback, but it was we cannot say, words cannot measure it. So Jishamas was asking me how was the class. That time I was saying, miss, your resource persons are excellent, so what else to say. So I'm sure no one will be giving a poor feedback because the resource persons were an excellent selection. And yesterday, Vigil said that we have attended many workshops, but this mode of teaching is unique only in St. Stephens. That is unique to the resource persons. That is, I must say that normally in all classes, the focus, the focus is on the PPT, and the content is going in the direction of the PPT. But here we experience that PPT is just an aid to teaching. The focus was not on the PPT, but it was on us. That is, we were given exercises. We were asked to, we were asked to, use our brain, I must say. Use our brain, do exercises and everything. That is, and we know as teachers or as students, we know that our attention span usually is only 15 to 30 minutes. After that, we get distracted when it is only on PPT or when we are just simply hearing it. But in these 2 days, usually after food, in the afternoon time, there will be persons who are sleeping. But in this workshop, മലയാളത്തിൽ പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഉറങ്ങാൻ പോലും അനുവദിച്ചിട്ടില്ല എന്നല്ല, ഉറങ്ങാൻ പോലും നമുക്ക് പറ്റിയിട്ടില്ല. കാരണം അത്രയ്ക്കും റിസോഴ്സ്ഫുൾ ആയിരുന്നു, അത്രയ്ക്കും കുറെ നാൾ കൂടി നമ്മൾ ബ്രെയിൻ ഒക്കെ യൂസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് അവസാനം ഒരു ടീച്ചർ പറഞ്ഞു, അടുത്ത ഒരു എക്സസൈസ് വന്നപ്പോ ടീച്ചർ പറഞ്ഞു, സാർ ഇനി പറ്റത്തില്ല എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. അപ്പൊ അതുപോലെ തന്നെ കുറെ കാലം കൂടി ബ്രെയിൻ ഒക്കെ യൂസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് വൈകുന്നേരം ആയപ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് ഒരു തലവേദന എടുക്കുന്ന പോലെ, തലേന്നൊക്കെ പുക വരുന്ന പോലെ. സോ അത്രയും നമ്മുടെ ബ്രെയിനെ നമ്മൾ യൂസ് ചെയ്തു, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അത്രയും നമ്മൾ ഇൻവോൾവ് ആയിരുന്നു ഓരോ ക്ലാസ്സിലും. അപ്പൊ ജാസിം സർ, ആന്റണി സർ എല്ലാവരും they gave us so much knowledge. Jasim sir ആണെങ്കിൽ he taught us about the AI, artificial intelligence tools that can be used for helping us in our PhD work. അപ്പം അത് ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത് helping us in our PhD work എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് those tools should be used for removing our writer's block. But അവിടെയും ക്രിയേറ്റിവിറ്റി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അവിടെയും ദ ഡിസ്ക്രിഷൻ ആൻഡ് വിസ്ഡം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കണം. ചാറ്റ് GPT അതുപോലെ AI ടൂൾസ് നമുക്ക് ഒരുപാട് സഹായിക്കും, പക്ഷെ അത് വായിച്ച് അത് ശരിയാണോ തെറ്റാണോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അത് എന്താണ് നമ്മുടെ വിസ്ഡം യൂസ് ചെയ്ത് തന്നെ ചെയ്യേണ്ടിയിരിക്കുന്നു. അതൊക്കെ നമ്മുടെ റൈറ്റേഴ്സ് ബ്ലോക്ക് അവോയ്ഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയുള്ള ടൂൾസ് ആണ്. അപ്പം പിന്നെ ടു ടോക്ക് അബൌട്ട് ദ ഓവറോൾ management or conduct of the workshop. We know that the fund is a constraint in all the seminars or workshops, but here also the fund അവർ നോക്കിയിട്ടില്ല എന്ന് വേണേൽ തന്നെ പറയാം. ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് വിശപ്പറിഞ്ഞിട്ടില്ല. ടൈംലി നമുക്ക് ഫുഡ് തരുന്നു. നമ്മൾ ബ്രേക്ക്ഫാസ്റ്റ് കഴിച്ചിട്ടാണ് വരുന്നത്, ബട്ട് 11 o'clock ആകുമ്പോൾ കൃത്യം ചായ, സ്നാക്സ് തരുന്നു. 1 o'clock ആകുമ്പോൾ ഭക്ഷണം, അഗെയിൻ ലഞ്ച്, 3 o'clock ആകുമ്പോൾ അഗെയിൻ ടീ ആൻഡ് സ്നാക്സ്. അതും ചെറുതൊന്നല്ല, ലാവിഷ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഫുഡ് തന്നെയായിരുന്നു. സോ ഫുഡിന്റെ കാര്യത്തിലും എക്സലന്റ് ആയിരുന്നു. പിന്നെ organizing committee of St. Stephens Commerce Department. Excellent coordination and teamwork. That is, we see in the brochure, നമുക്കറിയാം HOD and coordinators. ഇപ്പൊ യൂഷ്വലി വി നോ വർക്ക്ഷോപ്സിലൊക്കെ ചിലപ്പോൾ കോർഡിനേറ്റേഴ്സ് ആയിരിക്കും എല്ലാം ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ബട്ട് ഹിയർ ഐ കുഡ് സീ ദാറ്റ് ഓൾ ദ ഫാക്കൽറ്റി ആർ ഈക്വലി ഇൻവോൾവ് ഇൻ ദിസ് വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പ്. HOD ജിഷ മിസ് യൂഷ്വലി HOD ആണ്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ബാക്കിയുള്ളവർ ചെയ്തോളും, HOD എന്താണ് കോർഡിനേഷൻ ആണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നതിന് പകരം ജിഷ മിസ് എല്ലായിടത്തും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ജിഷ മിസ് എല്ലാ സ്ഥലത്തും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളിലും ജിഷ മിസ് ആയിരുന്നു കൂടുതലും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. എല്ലാ ടീച്ചർമാരും കൂടുതലുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പം എക്സലന്റ് ടീം വർക്ക്. ഐ മസ്റ്റ് അപ്രീഷിയേറ്റ് ദ ടീം വർക്ക് ഓഫ് ദ കൊമേഴ്സ് ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റ്. Then the other thing, I am a resource scholar of St. Stephens Uzhavoor. So Jisha has mentioned that this workshop was mainly conducted focusing on the resource scholars of St. Stephens Uzhavoor. And as we progress our work, we'll be getting more workshops like this, which will be conducted for all the participants. And above that, Jasim sir, he's such a helpful person, such a knowledgeable person. So I'm sure that നമുക്കറിയാം writing part of the thesis is the most difficult phase for every research. But St. Stephens College ഒഴികെയുള്ള സ്കോളേഴ്സിന് ആ ഒരു പ്രശ്നം ഉണ്ടാവത്തില്ല. കാരണം sir is always there to assist us or to help us. So I am really glad and happy that I could join such a research department who wholeheartedly supports their research scholars, which Stephen sir said in his message. Above that, Stephen sir സൂചിപ്പിച്ചു വാലിഡേറ്ററി മെസ്സേജിൽ ഇന്നലെ സംസാരിച്ചു എന്ന്. That message actually was an eye opener for all the students. That is, whatever obstacles that come in your life, if you have the strong determination to complete your work, then ആർക്കും തടയാനാവില്ല എന്ന് പറയുന്ന പോലെ, if you have a strong determination, അത് നടക്കുക തന്നെ ചെയ്യും. That was such an eye opener. കേട്ടവർക്ക് അത് നല്ലപോലെ എന്താണ് മോട്ടിവേറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ടുണ്ടെന്ന് നമുക്കറിയാം. So once again, I heartily congratulate the college management, staff, and everyone of the Commerce Department of St. Stephens College for arranging such a fruitful workshop. And ഇനിയും ഇതുപോലെ പരിപാടികൾ ഉണ്ടാവട്ടെ. എല്ലാവർക്കും താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച്. താങ്ക് യു.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I would like to call upon Mr. Nikhil S. Nair, research scholar, the AM College, Kurutikada, to share his experience.
ലിൻഡ, നിഖില് ഇല്ല എങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസിൽ ആർക്കെങ്കിലും അവരുടെ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ ഒരു അവസരം കൊടുക്കാം. ഇല്ല എന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് താങ്ക്സിനായിട്ട് അഭിഷേക് സാറിനെ കോൾ ചെയ്യാവേ. Okay, then shall we move on to the last but not the least? I'm calling upon my fellow coordinator, Mr. Abhishek Thomas, for the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, all. Respected resource person of the day, Dr. S. Kevin, Principal, Dr. Stephen Matthew, Head of the Department of Commerce, Dr. Jisha George, Joint Coordinator, Srimati Ambali Catherine Thomas, my dear colleagues and dear participants. I'm extremely happy to propose vote of thanks to all of you as a joint coordinator of this workshop. It was our proud that we are able to successfully organize a 3-day workshop on research methodology with your valuable support. First of all, I extend our most sincere thanks to the Almighty God for making today's event and the entire workshop a resounding success. With His blessings and grace, we are able to make this event what it was. On behalf of my college and all the participants of this workshop, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed resource person, Dr. S. Kevin, who spared time from his busiest schedule to grace the occasion. Today, we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely be going to encourage us in our future event. Thank you, Kevin, sir. I'm immensely thankful to our principal and the former head of the Department of Commerce, Dr. Stephen Matthew, for his continuous guidance and support. Thank you, sir. I need to mention my deepest sense of appreciation to our brother, Father Vince Melikadil, for his sincere support and cooperation to workshop. Thank you, Father. Next, I would like to thank our HOD and convener of this workshop, Dr. Disha George, whose effort and strong leadership made this program a success. Thank you, ma'am. I would also like to thank the people who worked behind the scene to make this event happen. Our system admin Reshma Sai, student volunteers, and all my colleagues for your hard work and support. I take this occurrence to thank Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, IQAC, and the research cell of St. Stephens College, Uzhavoor, for associating with this workshop. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for two other resource persons of this workshop, Dr. Anthony Joseph K. of SB College, Changanasheri, and Sri Jasimuddin S. of St. Stephens College, Uzhavoor, for their informative sessions. Finally, I am grateful to each and every one of you. Your participation ensured the success of our event. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Dear participants, we will send duty certificates and a participation certificate to your registered address by post soon. All those who are registered only for today's session will get e-certificate to their email address. We hope to invite you again soon. Please keep in touch with us for further events and their details. Once again, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And wish you all the best for your future programs. Okay. It was a nice experience.
Thank you, sir.
All of you, have a good day. I leave with your permission. Okay. Right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.